So then I adopt the cool guy position, but this isn't automatic, so I don't even need the clutch. It's
it's a power stance. It's a power stance.
It's a power stance. And so I'm at the stop sign. And I'm chilling, and she puts her hand on top of mine, and I freaked the out and hit the gas, and I T-boned this other car coming right in front, like slammed it, like a sports car. I'm driving through someone's lawn, and she's like, stop the car, and I'm like, oh, what? And I'm like I'm knocking over like Christmas decorations, and I like turn the car around, and I was like, oh my God.
Welcome back to another episode of Trash Taste. I'm joined by the boys once again, and this time by a very special guest who's joining us, Pete from here too.
Well, thank you. First of all, don't I get some sort of a special intro because I mean, it's a two-time award winner.
All right, hold on. No, I got it.
I mean, I won.
All right, okay.
Let's try.
All right, fine. All right.
Special guest sound.
Welcome to this episode of Trash Taste. I'm joined by the boys and joined today the two-time award-winning GIGACHAD. You know him, you love him, you paid for the full seat, but don't worry, you're going to be very comfortable the entire time because it's going to be a 2-hour banger, which are by Pete, Premier 2!
I feel so much better with that intro.
Damn.
But, you know, truthfully, thank you. That was very good.
That was some WWE shit.
Yeah. But
weighing in at 300.
Maybe 330. But I was thinking about, you know, how I was a two-time GIGACHAD award winner. But the reality is, I haven't seen you guys in about a year on the show, right?
Yeah.
What you guys have done in the last year is like insane character development. You've been broadcasting anime to a whole new generation of weebs on Twitch.
Character development,
You-
bro. That's character regression.
No, that was
all
great.
I'm doing is watching anime, Pete. That is no achievement to be talking about.
He's been doing that for the past 16 years, dude.
But I got to see it on Twitch, which felt like something that was always so against the rules. You can't broadcast any copyright material.
That is true.
So you brought Overlord to me, and I was like, that's
Oh shit,
sick.
you watched Overlord?
I did. I was like, this is sick.
Bang on.
And
All
then
right.
You've been creating a clothing and burping in my face, which is
my bad, bro.
you created a clothing empire that you had a pop up in Shibuya.
Empire is a strong word.
Which is insane though. But you got to go into
Yeah, it
one
was
of the most
cool.
biggest buildings in Tokyo.
cool.
You've raised $1 million.
Well,
we
raised.
Still, among other things, all I've done in the last year genuinely is I got a haircut and I gained 12 kilos. That's like it. So I feel like it was awesome to win the award twice, but I think that you guys actually are the true GIGACHADs. And congratulations on the award.
I don't want your sympathies.
See, audience, this is a classic form of manipulation.
No, it's not.
He's already securing the third GIGACHAD.
third award.
No,
Give it to someone else.
The question is, did you know what a GIGACHAD was before you won the first award?
Absolutely not. I had no idea. So, I mean, I'd seen the meme, but like of the guy doing the poses.
Yeah.
But I thought that was just from Trash Taste and you guys. Like I thought that was just something
No,
you guys
we're not
Well, I
original.
thought that it
We
was,
steal
from an After Dark episode or something.
Right.
And then when we did the first cyclothon, I added it as an alert, but the TTS couldn't say it right. They said GIGACHAD. So I thought it was GIGACHAD for like, oh, is that the way you actually say it for a minute? And then it's a fun term, I guess. GIGACHAD and stuff.
It just rolls off the tongue.
All right,
It is
Pete,
fun. Yeah.
How long have you been doing? So you transitioned to doing Twitch like
4 years. Your 4 year
full-time.
anniversary.
4 years.
Hey,
It's been 4 years now.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
it's
Congratulations.
You just had it recently, right?
Yeah, the 4 year
Congratulations.
anniversary of my wife thinking daily,
I think we should
divorce him?
cheers to that, Pete. I think we should cheers to that.
It does sound.
Right.
Oh, speaking of another amazing thing, you guys have your own beer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Cheers to
I mean,
4
cheers to that,
years.
really. Yeah, cheers to 4 years.
Cheers.
Wow, it didn't explode, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just knocked around.
Yeah. All right, so
They don't pressurize cans to like.
now that you've been doing Twitch for 4 years, how is your meme knowledge?
How did I spill that on me?
How is your knowledge
immediately
of
spilled
like
it.
modern slang and modern
okay.
lingo?
I mean,
now.
I mean, it's tough, but
he just did it! No! He did it! No!
No, he learned this from like literal like 4-year-olds.
yeah, it's true. Well, Ludwig classifies, I guess. But,
Yeah, we were on the RV trip. We had this. We were in like a llama, an alpaca zoo.
Oh, yeah.
And there's
yeah.
a bunch of school kids, and then they just obviously came out to us and they were asking us questions. And Ludwig mogged one of them, and then the kid did it back flawlessly and better.
Yeah,
than him.
way better.
He
Way better.
destroyed him, and now Pete won't stop doing it.
Shh.
Okay.
So
It's so weird to see him
I
do
know
that.
I'm 41 and I'm mogging Connor. I would say
Mog
that,
me all the time. I'm used to it.
but you know, it's an interesting thing because the culture is so much faster with these meme games, and
Yeah.
what is popular even 6 weeks or a year ago is completely unpopular now. And
More like 6 hours ago.
it really
6
is.
hours
It's
sometimes.
crazy. And so I think I'm lucky in a sense. On my channel, I think there's not a lot of that. I mean, there is, like, we joke about it.
Yeah.
But you go to a normal Twitch channel and it has a lot of emotes or reactions of ohms or cot or cinema or all these, like, people just spam the same thing.
Yeah.
I think my viewers are maybe sleeping, but no. So I think we still have, like, conversations and stuff. So the opportunity to learn slang is
I think
still very
your
limited.
chat still is like full of actual like human interaction.
Yeah, I think so. But it has been fun. Every time I get to hang out with the younger kids, as you guys are, I get to learn all new things.
The younger kids.
The younger kids.
I mean, we're going to be useless in that regard soon.
Yeah.
We're
You're
going
getting up
to.
there.
We already are.
I mean,
Yeah.
2/3 of us are already.
Yeah, we
useless.
already are.
You're our only hope.
Well,
You have like a
He's
year
the last
left.
young one
I got
left.
2 years, bro. I got 2 years. And
That's what you think, and it comes up on you fast.
Yeah. Do you know what I realized the other day? I was like, I've been doing YouTube for literally half my lifetime. I started
Damn.
YouTube, my first upload was 17 years ago.
So wait, I know that
17 years. So it has reached a point where I'm 34
that's
now.
crazy.
So
Half your life.
Half my lifetime
Oh, wow.
has been spent doing YouTube videos.
not only that, your entire adulthood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every
Next-
moment you've
I
had-
think all of us, so far,
Yeah,
at least
my
for Connor
entire-
and for me, it's
Yeah.
like our entire channel
entire-
has been
Yeah.
on YouTube.
these are your heroes.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
never-
Wait.
never
Whoa.
worked a day
They-
in
we
their
have
life.
we have never claimed to be heroes,
No.
right? And also,
I'm kidding.
also, you
love that you
know,
guys
not
like,
all
"Well," and I was
heroes.
like,
Yeah, that's right.
I flipped a couple of burgers.
You did.
That was not a real job, though. That was just abuse. The simulator.
I didn't
worked.
even get into that
I,
job.
I worked for the BBC.
I was going to say, though, so the BBC arc, which is still kind of jokingly and lovingly referred to, was
Yeah.
that also 17 years ago?
No. So I did
quit
YouTube
once.
and I quit to do the BBC.
Okay.
And then this motherfucker rose up and I'm like, this motherfucker thinks he can take my crown? Ain't no way. I'm coming back, baby. No.
And then he came back like Vlad the
Well,
Impaler.
what he
Yeah.
proved, what Joey proved was that you could do YouTube as a job, which just wasn't a thing 17 years ago. So that's what he proved to me.
Huh.
So that's
Gaunt
why I
used to be
quit.
that guy when I was like, when I was in school. He was like, you get one Gaunt video every 2 years, and everyone would be like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was
It's like
like
the
Loaded.
Michael Reeves of today.
Yeah, I
it was
guess
like-
so.
it was an
yeah.
event.
Still the,
Now we're coming
yeah.
back, baby.
And now he's
Now you're a
can't stop him.
content machine.
Yeah. And now that's the same for Sea Dog videos, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I think out of us three, he uploads the most frequently now.
You're the most
insane.
consistent, yeah.
On main channel, yeah.
On
On
main
main
channels,
channel.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it is crazy when you put it that way. You're 34, and I mean, I hadn't started streaming at your age yet. Still, that was another 3 or 4 years away for me to even begin
Damn.
Yeah.
that second or third or fifth life that I've led in the job world. But congratulations on 17 years. That's actually
Thank you very
that's
much.
insane.
One more year and your channel can drink.
Yeah, next year
Well,
the
not
anime
in
zone
America.
is literally legal
Oh, in the UK.
adults.
Well, not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not in Japan, actually.
Not in
Wait.
Japan either.
Wait,
Yeah.
Anime
fuck.
zone is 18 years old. That's that's depressing to think about.
Yeah, that's scary.
That is scary to think about.
But you have to admit, would you agree, possibly, I'm setting you up now to agree with me, but
Okay.
have your 30s so far been better or more enjoyable than your 20s?
That's a loaded question.
Oh, no. He threw you the ball there.
You can say no. It's,
I want to say
yeah.
yes, but I also want to say I've been more comfortable. But I do miss the energy I had as in my 20s. I feel like I got lucky in my 20s. So normally what your 20s are for is like discovering yourself, and then you do all the exciting shit when you're 30. And I feel like I've done so much exciting shit in like my late 20s. Now that I've reached my 30s, I'm like, I kind of like feel like I've regressed a little bit to be like, I'm fine just chilling now. I'm fine.
But with chilling, that
Yeah.
also invites a certain sort of like piece of this is like the best year of your life because you just enjoy your time.
Yeah,
Yes.
because you can chill.
Yeah.
But I think the best years is subjective. I would say I've enjoyed my 30s as much as I've enjoyed my 20s. Just in a different way. Just in a different way. I am dealing with different problems and I'm enjoying different things, but I'd say from my experience, I've enjoyed both. I think I was very blessed in my 20s and I've been very blessed in my 30s as well.
I mean, yeah, and that's the other thing as well, is that like, you're comparing what, 4 years to 10 years? So it's like,
yes.
Also, you're living it, so I feel like it's harder to look, when you look back on a period, it's a lot easier to kind of be like, block out all the, like the shitty things.
Yeah.
And
Now-
just kind of you're like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah. Now, if we were to compare my 30s to my first 4 years of my 30s to my first 4 years of my 20s, abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
My
So we're
30s are
tracking that this could be a better decade.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
so
good.
far,
Trending upwards. Trending upwards.
so far, it's a good start.
At 24 was about the age I quit the BBC. So now is like when my 20s started getting good.
Was there a period in your life where you were like, damn, this is kind of crazy? Like, this is the best.
Tuesday, I think. Like, no, I mean, like, I think from the best, I genuinely feel like each year has been better than the last.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, I genuinely feel that way. Even when I was 24, I was still in college, still in the math lab, and they're like, he's never going to graduate. He's so stupid.
I mean, it must be like, if you could talk to like 16-year-old Pete and be like, one day you're going to get to play video games.
He would just be like, shut up, I'm playing games.
You were doing
doing
this
that right
and
now.
getting paid.
I think young Pete would be like, yeah, I know. You got
He just had a cosmic knowledge who's going to work out.
Well, I think that actually has persisted throughout my entire life. But I remember when I was maybe 6 or 7, I used to wake up in the morning and play Nintendo before school. And my mom would be getting ready for,
You could
her-
wake up early. I couldn't do that.
Well, I mean, I don't think I slept. I know I was. But she would, she'd have like her robe cinched and smoking a cigarette, and she'd go, "Oh gosh, you played those games all the time. It's never going to lead to anything." And I was like, "That's not true, Mom. Someday I'm going to be paid to play games." And now I am. And so
You had the last laugh.
she often calls me and says, like, remember when I used to tease you about that?
My mom said the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Same here.
My mom still teases me about it.
yeah. Well, my mom still calls it Twatch, and she doesn't know that it's Twitch. And I'm like, Mom, please.
Watch.
I don't think she knows. And like,
Does your mom watch your streams?
she tries, and I'm not going to tell you the number. Well, I will. It doesn't matter. But her name is. She's 74, and every time I call her, she'll be like, 74, ready for more? And I'm like, okay, Mom, that's great. You're very youthful, very excited. Her name on Twitch is like Gypsy Girl 27 or something. And so people, when the channel was really small, people would like, I think, show a special interest in it because it was a girl in the chat. They'd be like, "Yo, what's up, Gypsy Girl?" I'm like, "Please stop." I was like, "That's my mom." Like, hey, why couldn't she be called like Gypsy Woman? Because I think it's a famous song that she liked from when she was young.
Yes.
And I was like, "Could you just change it to anything without the word girl in it? Because you're getting hit on, and you're in your 70s." But she's like, "I like the attention." So
Oh my
she's
God.
great though.
That's
So
kind of badass though.
Yeah.
she's the best. Like when we
Badass.
called her on my
Yeah.
on my birthday in the van, I asked her
Like live on stream.
live on stream. I said, "How many edibles have you had?" And she went, 4. And I was like, "Okay, all right." So
Yeah, I want to hang out with your mom.
she's
Yeah.
the best. So
She is.
she was
She's
born
very
in
funny.
1950. So I'd say that she got to experience the whole gamut. Yeah, but take that, Mom.
The
I'm playing
onslaught.
games.
The onslaught.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Damn.
Each year has been better, and this year already great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wait, how old are you again?
41.
41. All right. See, I look at you and I'm like,
Just
damn,
around the corner for you,
I have
Grant.
something to look forward to.
Well-
so we had a conversation about like the era that we grew up in, right? And I think now 90s culture was coming back in. We've talked about this on Trash Taste, but I also think none of us have a proper experience of the 90s because that was like when we were like, our prefrontal
Fetus.
cortex. We were like fetuses back
Yeah.
then. But you actually got to grow up in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right? What was it like? What do you miss the most?
Tell us
about
the stories,
that era?
Granddad.
Granddad,
Let me
please.
think.
Did the
for a
McDonald's
moment.
really look that
Yeah.
cool when
What
you
would
went in them?
What would you say defines 90s culture for you?
I think that we were in an era of unbridled optimism as children.
Oh my God, I wish.
God, I
It's
miss
true.
that
I wish
shit.
that-
I miss that
Holy
shit.
shit.
It's true. And I think that it was the perfect blend of there was a rise in middle class income where we could afford things that maybe my parents' generation couldn't waste money on.
Yeah.
And we had toys, we had arcades, we had fast food was still novel in that you didn't eat it every day. It was like we're going to Pizza Hut, which was like
It was like a reward thing.
it was we literally read books to get a free personal pan pizza that you'd take your homework and they would be like, good job, son. It was a great time. And the thing that I will always be appreciative of as a gamer is I have a unique perspective, and I think I've even mentioned this on this channel. I've grown up from Atari and been present and active for every single innovation on
You've
video
been there
games
for the entire history of video games.
Yeah.
as it was new.
Yeah.
And as I could still appreciate it. And it was like, because when we, just like an idea of the 90s of something that was, things that are long gone now, telephones, taking messages, long distance calls, you couldn't call your cousin across
a
town.
landline, right? Yeah.
Taking messages for like your family.
The UK was pretty fucking old.
They might still have it.
When I was a kid, I had a black and white TV.
Oh, yeah, those were
still
great.
using a rotary phone, and then they had dial-up. The first I remember having dial-up for like 1 year.
Yeah, dial-up was a big game. Well, the internet was huge, but the whole the notion of having 4 channels, and Fox being the newest channel, it was like the edgy one with like the Simpsons and stuff. There was only 4 channels that you could even possibly watch. But what I always miss was they had these newspapers we would get because we saw daily delivered newspapers. And around this time of year, during Black Friday or Thanksgiving or Christmas is ramping up, they would have these full color ads for like Best Buy or Fry's or whatever your electronics store is. And it would have a little image of every single game that was coming out with their price. And my mom would let me circle 3 games for Christmas. And then she would say, I don't know if I can get you all 3, but choose your best 3. That shit, I would take that to school. I would get like community notes on it, like, what do you guys think? It would be the most agonizing decision of my life.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was just really fun. And imagine this as well. Like, I could talk about this for 7 hours, but the other thing,
please do.
Well, it's so fascinating to me because we wait for games so long now. And when I was young, the difference between Final Fantasy VI, which is 3 in America, Chrono Trigger, and Final Fantasy VII is like 3 years total. Which is insane. You went from Chrono Trigger, which is like peak SNES graphics, to Final Fantasy VII within a year and a half.
Yeah, that's psychotic.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And Super Mario 64 was at that same time. And
the problem that I miss having, and this is like I don't know if you guys ever had this, on Christmas when you would get like 3 or 4 games, and then you're like, man, which one do I play first?
Yeah.
And you're in your head, you're having like mental anguish over like, man, I haven't put enough time into this one. I don't want my mom to think I don't like this game.
Yeah.
I gotta play it.
yeah, man.
It's such a good problem that we'll never have now.
Well, now we look at our Steam libraries and it says
We're like,
12,000
we're just
games.
like overloaded with different experiences. Like right now, I'm like, I want to play the Elden Ring DLC, but I also got to play Metaphor as well, and all the other JRPGs that have come out this year.
You could play like 19 games in the time it would take to play Metaphor.
Yeah, I know.
And I would still choose Metaphor.
But like, it's an amazing experience,
Last year we got a lot of flack because we said that.
Yeah, I was
there's
like, I was
good
going to ask, is
games.
this building up to this
Is it a good year for games?
Man, I fucked that up so bad last year.
You didn't fuck it up.
I said
I got the heat.
We all got heat. And honestly, fuck you. Bring it back. I'm ready. I took my lumps. No, it's tough. I think that when you look at gaming, it's kind of like the movie industry in a sense where now it's so many sequels. And I think my main argument that I wanted to try to say last time was I miss when there was new IPs and there was brand new adventures like a Metaphor or something like that, Elden Ring.
I think this year's actually been the first year in a while where it's like a lot of them are new IPs. I mean, obviously there's a lot of returning IPs, but if you look at the Game of the Year nominations, it's a lot of new IPs there.
Yeah, it's great. I was so excited.
And the Elden Ring DLC as well, which
yeah, it's going to be
probably
controversial.
going to win.
Oh man, I called this like 3 months ago. There's receipts somewhere on my VODs. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I genuinely felt Balatro was the game of the year. And I got a lot of
Very good game.
pushback because it was an indie title and stuff like that. And I was so excited when it got nominated because I feel like the indie scene right now is the best we have in games.
Oh, yeah, it's so
because
good.
Those are guys and girls who grew up playing games that we like that no one makes anymore because the development times are too long and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think this is a great time to be a gamer. Even if the year itself was kind of disappointing, or last year was disappointing on like a headliner, it's never been better to be a video game player.
Yeah,
For
sure.
sure.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, even when I get sent like fucking millions of game codes, I always do that series where I'll play a bunch.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll play it. You know, a lot of them are fucking awful. But again, you'll be like, man, this game has no reviews on Steam, and it's really fun. And you're like, this is sad because it probably won't ever take off, but it's like a phenomenal game. And you're like, what do you have to do now for it to take off?
You know, this
Shout it out as much as you can, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not so simple.
Or you could do that like real hipster thing where you just like keep it for yourself and be like, no, this is like the one I like that no one else talks about.
I did that with my stream for 9 months.
You
It was
design
horrible.
a game that streamers would enjoy.
Yeah, if enough YouTubers make lore videos about it, it reaches critical mass, and then it's like, it's a big game now.
Yeah.
I think there was a game that so recently I was sponsored, which is a rarity on the channel, but I was really excited about it. I got to play Dragon Quest 3.
I saw.
I got paid to do it.
Yeah, I was so jealous of it.
Like, the idea behind that is so crazy because Dragon Warrior, this is probably, everyone's like, this guy's so old.
No.
That game came out in like 1988 or something like that. I played it with my dad. You know, he was like, we would play on Nintendo. It was my very first RPG. And he'd be like, son, I gotta go to the store and just don't drink my Diet Pepsi. And I'd be like, why? And then it was whiskey, but that's okay. But he would be like, so he was like, just go ahead and farm slimes and make sure you get me enough gold so we can buy a copper goddamn sword. So he was gone for like 4 hours. I don't know. It was supposed to be right back. But I ended up getting all this gold by farming slimes. And I bought like 12 wooden sticks and he came back and was like, God damn it, what'd you waste the fuck's going on? And I was like 5 or something like that. But to then be all these years later and have a chance to be...
That's so cool.
It's crazy. Like, this is my very first game. So I love gaming, but the 90s were special. They were truly, truly unique.
Did you go out a lot as a kid?
Are you kidding me?
I have this...
Hell no.
Hell no.
I have this image of just at least, listening to, you're not that age yet. Like Sydney's dad's like stories about how, in America, you'd go out and, ride your bicycle and, it's such a weird concept where
Riding
parents would just trust kids to go out with no form of contact.
That's what I did.
Huh?
That's what I did.
That's what
you did?
That's what I did
Yeah.
as well.
Bro, I lived in Wales. There's just fields. I would get home from school and then, I would be like, all right, I'm going to see the kids in the park. And then I would be gone until like 9.
I would walk to like my friend's house, which was
So
just
did
down
you have
the road.
like, do you guys have like a curfew where you've been
dinner. By dinner,
by dinner, or we will call the police?
Well, no. They would just kind of be like, well, if he's not back by midnight, maybe we'll figure something out.
I think they were usually calling the truant officer because I would refuse to go to school, not because I was home late. So for me, it was as soon as I got home, it would be grab my GT Dyno, my cool bike that I found. It was like free. And then I would pop curbs where you do like stupid tricks and go meet your friends, go play baseball or whatever. And then we'd play Pogs and Slammers and like stupid, ridiculous, boring shit. And then go home and we'd also go to like Caveman Comics and buy a new issue of, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or X-Men or whatever. And all these things were new still and exciting. And so
When you were in school, was there a big like trading card phase? Like, if there was there? What was that?
It started with baseball cards, which for a lot of that was still relevant.
Man, was everything in the world black and white then as well? Or?
It was. We got color.
Right. It looks like 12 Angry Men.
It was so crazy when we got purple and like greens and shit. And I was like, damn, this DLC is fire. But no, we had baseball cards that we would collect initially, and then there was these really lame things called Cabbage Patch or Wacky Packs.
I know.
And Wacky Packs were my favorite. They were grotesque drawings of pop culture parodies. So instead of having like a Batman card, it would be this disgusting drawing of a superhero named Fat Man, and you would collect these and trade them. And then if you collected enough of them, you could have like one giant disgusting image. That was, back then we just didn't. There was no internet. There was Mad Magazine was still like.
I mean, the internet was not very useful when you were a kid because you just didn't know how to use it and search for things that you actually needed.
The internet only really became like a useful tool in the 2000s, I'd say.
But it was
for
peak in like the 90s,
general
though.
people, right?
Yeah, for like general people.
Yeah, forum culture was kind of cool. Like, it was kind of fun at the time, but it is a terrible way of.
I miss forum culture.
Do you remember whenever anything happened to your PC and it'd be in a forum And then it was just never helpful, but you'd always click on the forum just in case it helped you fix your PC issue. And it never fucking did. And the moderator was like, let me know if there's any more problems. And there was always like more problems.
Well,
Yeah, or it was like the forum would start off with the exact problem you had, but there were no replies.
Yeah. That's the worst.
But you would go on these trails of like finding any clue that was remotely successful.
Yeah.
And finally, on the deepest depths of a forum, some guy would be like, yeah, I kind of solved it. Here's what I just had to restart and hold down X. And you're like, oh, thank you. And then we never upvoted it. We never said like, thanks, that helped me. Just move on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was
Not
a
all
crazy
heroes wear
time.
capes.
No, they don't. It was cool, I think. But like I said, even though as great as the 90s were, I think that I'm still enjoying life more now than I ever did back then. But it was...
Well, kids are probably hearing, oh, we were unbridledly optimistic. And they're like, what's that? How do you be a generation that was optimistic?
Well, that was until we were like in middle school. And I think most kids are optimistic until then anyway.
I don't know.
Really?
Like, talking to some kids, everyone like this, because of the internet, because of like the whole, I guess, like a lot of doomer culture has preservated, been
penetrated. Gotcha.
Towards like the modern generation. And I don't know, it seems like because of how cynical the internet is right now, it seems like we were around at the time when the internet was this like bright, new, exciting thing. And now I talk to, some kids of the younger generation, and they are still optimistic, but
it's cool to be negative.
Yeah.
Self-deprecating humor was a rarity when it's my calling card, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I made a career off this in every single facet that I could. But when it was original back then, it played off very well. But then shows like The Office or awkward humor or like now every kind of comedy is centered around negativity or self.
That's been the British bread and butter for years.
That's true. Actually, what am I talking about? You guys had that.
What the fuck? That's all.
That's
our
true.
thing. Don't try to take our culture.
Yeah, that is definitely cultural.
You took our tea.
Well, they've been doing that since the Dark Age.
That's true.
It's like, my lord, you're cringe.
British is still in the Dark Ages. Just so you know, we never left the Dark Ages.
But it's. I do yearn for a more simple time where, and I think for me, that's why I like streaming so much, to bring it full circle, is that it's still, my approach to it is a game night with friends where presumably we're sharing games and having a laugh. And I've traded the 3 or 4 people who are always at my house to an audience who is there digitally. Yeah. But it was a crazy time. So much innovation in such a short period of time.
Is there any games you've enjoyed a lot this year?
Other than Balatro, of course, was I think just simply amazing. Dragon Quest III, my God, it was incredible. But I've realized that as much as I love gaming, and I'm a historian of video games, I love it, genuinely, I don't play games anymore the way I used to because of streaming. It doesn't.
It's your job now.
Yeah. Well, it just doesn't allow me the room to let the games breathe all the time, to viewer retention and caring about an experience.
Yeah, when you because we'll always talk when we play the same games. I'll be like, I beat it in 12. He's like, really? I beat it in 24. Like, what?
Well, it's for me.
You like, I feel like you make a show where I'm like, yeah, fuck off, Mario. Let's go. Fuck it.
It's like speedrun.
Yeah. I don't even intend to. In my head, I'm just like, I literally can't just sit there and wait. Like, I don't know. I just Subway Surfers on the side.
For what?
I don't know. Like I'm like a lot of
game to start gaming.
Well, I understand what he's saying. I mean, your purpose in your playthrough. I think it started when you had brain rot and played Call of Duty for 72 hours a day. And
oh my God, yeah.
But for me, my fondest memories of gaming are in the basement with my buddies, and one of us is on the PC playing whatever, and then I'm on the TV playing Resident Evil on GameCube. And I'm not really trying to go at any particular pace, but we're having discussions and talking about girls we liked or jobs we hate, and the gaming is kind of a byproduct of that. And then as we get towards the end of that, I'm like, oh man, I should lock in and 100% this. Yeah. And that is not really a conducive way to stream, I think.
No, that is.
All your friends come to your house to game?
Always.
Oh, you were that kid.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, because my parents are too strict. And my best friend, his parents...
I mean, my mom, I think, had already been like...
So they were like, it's free reign. So whenever I'd go to his, it was like, they wouldn't care if we stayed up all night. like 24 hours playing video games. My mum would murder me if she knew I was doing that.
My mom, I think,
Same.
no way. She was, so we had, for my entire senior year, Halo Combat Evolved had just released 6 months prior, or about that time. And we had every Friday for the entire year, Halo nights at my place. It started at 7 or 8 p.m.
Men just want one thing. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
24 guys.
And you say your life is better now?
Actually, that might have been.
That sounds like
Well, actually, to be fair,
yeah.
when I went to America, Ludwig and the Yard Boys, they do like they call it Penis Star League. They have a full LAN setup of Halo 3 and COD 2, Modern Warfare 2.
Hell yeah.
Oh my
They just
God.
do LAN nights.
I
It was
miss a
really
good
fun.
LAN party, man.
LAN
Sorry,
parties,
carry on.
no. It's you're right though. The LAN party vibe. We'd bring 3 guys. Would have to bring TVs, like the big 27-inch,
Yeah, of
450
course,
pounds. We would have 4 Xboxes, 3 link cables, and then the only rule when you came over to my place, we didn't drink at this time. God, that would have been madness. But we did drink a lot of colas. So you had to bring either 2 12-packs or 1 24-pack. And if there's 18
What's
to
a
20
12-pack?
A 12
Like
cans.
12
You
cans
had to
of
bring
cola?
2 12-packs or
12
1
packs?
24-pack. And we, like any Midwesterner, we had a spare fridge in our garage.
How many
Yeah.
And
did
this is like
you?
full strength Coke, right?
This is like Mountain Dew.
I've never heard
Fuel.
someone
This
call it
is
full
like-
strength
full
Coke.
strength.
This
Full
was
sugar, you
RC
mean?
Yeah,
Cola.
full
This
sugar.
was Jolt Cola, which had 3 times the caffeine.
Wait. So
Mountain Dews.
and how many colas would you drink a night?
So we would often, at the end of the night, which would go until my mom woke up for work,
Yeah.
because she worked on Saturdays. Bless her heart, Jesus. I should send her all my money. So she would wake up and say, "Boys, it's time to go home." We would have well over 200 or 300 cans of colas.
Oh my God.
How are you alive?
4 of you?
Well, if there's, okay, calculate it, right? Because the fridge, everyone had to bring 2 12-packs or 1 24-pack,
Yeah.
and there's 18.
This is how he learned math. That's
Well, I don't know the answer.
Pete's like, I don't know what the math is, but I know I can drink a 24-pack in an
Easily.
hour.
And
This is guy math
It
in
was
a
so
nutshell.
much fun, man, because one map of Blood Gulch or it would take 4 or 5 hours because there was no timers on the
I
original
remember the
Halo.
first time I had a monster when I was 12, and it felt like I had injected like pure heroin into my veins.
You had a monster at 12?
Yeah,
They weren't
because
out
it was
yet.
like a around that time was when it was the whole like Monster and Red Bull marketing like really ramped up, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
cool to drink a monster because the can's neon green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it tasted kind of good because it was super sugary.
Nah, I was a bitch. I saw like the older kids in my school like drinking monsters, and I was like, that looks yummy, but I'm too scared to try it.
Well, because it was like a pound. It was like a pound a can, and it tasted good.
It's like
so I
if
would
my
get
mom
it.
finds out I drank that, she'd kill me.
Yeah, my mom was not happy when she found
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think I only discovered energy drinks when I was in university.
Yeah, same.
I actually
What?
don't think I had any in school.
I thought it was more of a cool thing, and I got kind of too much into it, and then I had to let down.
You sound like you did heroin.
Yeah.
I mean, the energy
I
drinks
got
are like
into it.
horribly
Yeah, it
addictive.
was.
You speak to
It's liquid
Yeah.
heroin.
like
basically.
For a kid as well?
luckily I was I was mainly like in college where I started drinking them a bit too much. I'd have like one a day.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were all there.
Yeah.
And I have some friends that would chug like 4 Red Bulls a day, and you're like, are you and it's like really hard for them to quit.
Yeah, I stopped
And
doing
it is like having like fucking heroin.
Yeah.
We had a mate, and he stopped, and he was having horrific migraines and shaking.
Yeah. I got. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I stopped drinking energy drinks after my friend almost died of a heart attack.
Yeah, that also happened too.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, never touching that again.
Well, I gave him up for quite a while, but at a school nomikai when I was a teacher, we had a Christmas bonin kai or whatever, like end of year party.
Yeah.
And some people won like a Nintendo Switch. Some people won like yakiniku meats that gets delivered.
Damn.
I won 36 cans of Monster. No. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's fire these up again. And I had Yuki had to go out to like visit her family for like a week on a trip. So I was at home alone, and I played this game called Graveyard Keeper. It's a great game, but I don't think I slept for 6 days, and I was just kind of like, every time I'd just be like, let's just have one more round.
Oh my
And
God.
Getting off of that only
lucky to be
ended
there.
because I ran out of the 36 cans.
Yeah.
Of
Man,
Monster.
what a fucking movie that could have been
Yeah.
made in
Oh,
those
yeah.
36 cans. The movie,
Man.
the ups and downs.
But those Halo nights were peak. And even I remember there was once where I got food poisoning because my mom made like tortellini that was expired for like 3 years, and we only had the one bathroom that we could use upstairs. And I was like, I'd already invited everyone over. There was like 20 guys there. They were already playing. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I feel really sick. I was like puking, and instead of my friends like helping me, they were like hurry the fuck up in there, I gotta pee. And I was like, bleh. And then they ended up playing the games all night, and not one person
While you're dying.
picked me up and was like, you good, man? Do you need some medicine? They were like, hey, we gotta go. Do we lock the door on the way out? I was like, this is ridiculous.
Oh.
Friends for life. Those are your bros you meet on Halo, though. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds like the most Halo experience of all time. You know?
I got into Halo a lot. I mainly played COD though. COD was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played mainly Gears of War, I think.
Yo, that was multiplayer that was fucked. That one had massive host advantage.
Yeah, that was
It
really
did.
bad.
It
Yeah.
It was hard. They literally gave, I don't know why, what was the reason behind this? They would give the host extra health.
No. What?
Yes. Look, Gears of War, Google it, Gears of War host advantage. The host just had extra flat health.
Really? I always thought it was the ping advantage.
His
Take more
shots.
damage.
Yeah.
Basically, the host is God. His shots are stronger, can seemingly take more damage, can down you quicker with Lancer, and has uber range on his guns.
Well,
it was literally impossible to play the game competitively because of this.
I always thought it was because of the ping advantage. Because when I was the host, you know, you always have like a little bit of a reaction that is always going to be faster than literally anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously that, but I'm pretty sure the stats were actually like buffed.
Right. Because that's what I always thought. But like,
I could be wrong there.
Gears of War was obviously really fun as well. Did your house have a massive basement?
It did.
Does
Damn,
every
Midwest.
Midwestern house
It
have
does.
a massive basement?
Because of like tornadoes and stuff, right?
I mean, that's probably the reason.
That's the
but,
actual
like,
reason.
But
Oh, yeah.
like, you know, I think, and you know, back in the day, the house we lived at, so I've always lived in the basement. It sounds so, but every house we've ever had
Literally your mom's basement.
was my mom's basement, and we had a fire like in one of our houses once where it was the first time I committed fraud, where they told me you can write down the price of what you bought everything for that was damaged. I was like, well, this is like a cheat code because all my stuff was kind of old, but when I bought it, they were like, yeah, and I was like, Sony PlayStation $299, you know, 27-inch TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got this great check. I guess it's not fraud if that's what they told me to do, and statutes of limitations passed. But we
called
moved
an
to
exploit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an exploit. So, host advantage. So we moved to another basement with all new tech, and I think that not only does every house have it, I went back there when like 3 years ago when I visited back home. The house was like $180,000 to $220,000 for sale. It must have been like $35,000 when my mom moved in there, or something just like super.
It does
affordable.
suck talking to your parents. And they're like, yeah, I bought it when it was a tenth of the price.
Sorry.
It's like,
Probably
I
not
bought
that.
it for 8 grapes and a handshake. It's like, all right,
It
cool.
was insane. I was like, wow. And this is not even that great of a house.
Yeah.
And it's not in a great part of town, but I was thinking, that's insane. It's so expensive.
Because every time I go to Wisconsin, like every time I visit like a friend or someone I know there, everyone just has like the most massive fucking basement of all time that is like completely decked out. It is like my dream. All right, because
It is the man cave.
I don't know what is it a man do we have like the manly urge to just build the perfect basement? Of
course.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
You know what blows my mind about American basements? This is like those memes the European mind can't comprehend.
No.
The full fridge and freezer, like separate.
Yeah.
A full fridge.
Yeah, and then you have
for the
the box.
basement, and then like the perfect size freezer for a body. But like, how many freezed goods do you have? Like, that's crazy.
And
In America?
Yes.
I mean, there's a fuckload.
Yeah.
But it's like it's so much.
It's
so,
great.
so many basements I know just have like they have their own bar as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
your dad
yeah,
is
yeah. My dad has that.
Well, you could have had like a big living room, but your dad was like, "Nah, mate, gonna have a bar."
Well, yeah, my dad was like, nah, living room's upstairs. This is my space.
So you're like, just Joey's living room is like a foot.
It's tiny.
It's like a seat in a coffee table.
and then you go downstairs and it's like
the entire bar area
it's
could
like-
easily be a living
there's
room.
this giant bar, and then my dad has this giant record set up with the TV so that my
Yeah.
mom can play Wii bowling during Christmas.
That's great,
And
though.
dartboards.
Yeah,
that's our
best
base.
All right,
Right.
guys.
Easily
what's your,
better.
What's your dream basement? You own a house.
Dream
what,
man
what
cave?
are you putting in your dream basement? What's
All right, bar,
of course bar standard.
pool table.
You want a pool table? I want a poker table in mine. I want a poker table there.
Yeah, like just like an area that like obviously I want like the couch and the TV, so like there's like a game setup.
Yeah. I want like You know the thing? I want like every like game console just like laid out there. You know, like the fucking cabinet where you're like, what console do you want to play today? Just go
Then
through
you
the
got to set up
generation
some
of
elaborate
games.
switcher. Otherwise,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
get in there. And,
Yeah.
I didn't plug in the controller.
Yeah, I'll pay someone to do that.
Oh, okay. Right.
I'm actually anti-bar at the house. Like
Anti-bar at the house?
I don't ever. I like to drink, obviously, right? Like I love the izakaya culture, but I do not enjoy drinking at homes.
Really?
The vibe's all off for me, and I miss the kind of background
Noise, yeah.
chatter and the clinking of dishes and silverware. And I feel like it's a very conducive way to be lively. But
Yeah.
at a house, I never feel comfortable. And I think
Really?
it's because I didn't drink till I was like 27, 28 years old for the first time.
okay.
So yeah, it might have been the delay on that
Right.
one. So I
Right.
missed house parties and stuff.
Are you saying that we might have been drinking for longer than you?
Yeah, that
guarantee you.
worries me a
I've been
lot.
catching up though with consumption amounts.
definitely.
So like
In Wisconsin, going downstairs and having your dad drink is just, I think, everyone's core memory there, actually.
Yeah.
wow, see that's so fascinating. Like they pour like bourbon or something cool, and they
It's just like
or
you go
beer.
downstairs and
Yes.
it's
Like
just the
before-
parents
yeah.
watching the game, basically.
Yeah, your parents just spawn down there
I think
with a beer in their hands. It's like-
Australia is like the UK, though. I think most our
you can go
parents.
outside.
Drink.
Yeah, well, we also have a balcony as well that you can
Guna
like go
Fortune.
drink at. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, or like a
okay.
backyard.
I didn't think his dad was drinking Guna Fortune at home.
No,
casually.
my dad had money, so
But some Australian
only
kids,
broke college kids would do that,
Yeah, that
which
was-
we did.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I missed out. So, but yeah, the bar, the poker table, the pool table, the
Okay,
TV.
would you ever have a projector in there, or just like a really
projectors are so shit, bro.
You don't like projectors? You're
I'm a firm projector hater. I just think they often look like shit. They never look as good as a screen.
Yeah, I think like back then it made sense to have a projector, you know, before like the big TVs you could buy now. But now you can get TVs the same size as a projector.
And they're like
So
£4
it's like-
for some reason.
Yeah, and they're like
you can buy a
mad cheap.
70-inch TV for like $50.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I
Obviously, I'm
worked
exaggerating,
at,
but like they're so cheap.
They
no,
are
you're
cheap,
not
yeah.
exaggerating. I worked at Circuit City, which is a electronics store in America when I was in college, and HD TVs had just come out. Like
Oh, wait, they're
just come out.
expensive.
Wow.
First of all, I had never seen something so beautiful in my entire life. Like, and they always had like the same ads running of like the French Open. So you see like the
Or
clay.
like fucking fish.
Yeah.
Going through
Just,
the.
well, back then it was just like 4 minutes of the
okay.
same reused
Yeah,
footage.
right.
And I would just sit there and I would upsell it to everybody. And this was when plasma TV still had like severe burn-in.
Yeah.
So they would tell you, you know, this can only last for like 8 months to 2 years if you're lucky or whatever. Some of those TVs were over $8,000 or $9,000, and they weren't even that big. This monitor's bigger than some of those TVs back then.
Right.
And we would still have to sell the Sony Trinitron Mega Bobegas that were at least 850 pounds. Like you
Yeah.
cannot lift them.
Yeah.
And I think that now when you go to McDonald's, they're like, do you want a free LCD screen with that? And you're like, sure. What do I? They're like, cool, it's like 42
Yeah, the Happy
inch
Meal
if
is
you
just
get-
a 60-inch LED.
You know, because the TVs now, they're like loaded with ads and they collect your data and stuff like that. And that's kind of like the trade off. But you know what? I'm like, sure.
Yeah,
God, the
fuck it.
TV's fucking cheap as fuck.
Yeah.
Like a 55-inch, like 4K TV, like a nice one, is like $500, $800.
Yeah, not
It's
even
crazy.
sometimes.
Yeah.
God, do you think TVs are being over-engineered now?
No, they're shit. They're shit.
I bought a new TV.
They're like the worst parts of a PC in a display.
Okay, why?
They're so
I
slow.
don't know if this is default on every TV, but I've like on every modern TV that I've had so far, the default setting is to have this dog shit auto smoothing on everything. And I don't know why that's like the auto setting, right?
Have you seen the subreddits? There's like subreddits dedicated to this, to like calibrating your TV perfectly. And they all get in arguments about how to calibrate your TV
Yeah.
perfectly. It's so intense.
Yeah, and then I was I had a new we had a new TV, and I didn't know this was a setting because this is the first time I've seen this setting. But this TV had a default setting to like auto adjust the volume, so it's like at a constant level, right?
Like a compressor?
Like a compressor.
What the fuck?
So I was watching this anime. I was watching like Solo Leveling. This was like a while ago, and I was like, why are the hype scenes so dog shit? They've really fucked up on their like audio mixing in this.
Yeah.
Because when the music would go loud, suddenly like something
hear
hype
anything.
would happen,
Yeah.
and then like the music would be like, and I'm like, I'm not hype at all. And then I realized it was the fucking TV like artificially
that's
compressing the
diabolical.
fucking volume, and I was just like, this is dog shit. Why is this a feature on the TV?
Have you seen that some streaming services now offer dialogue boost to films and TV shows?
No.
Because have you not noticed that, like, this is a big complaint in the past couple of years, is that when you watch a movie at home, especially a movie that was in theaters, it's mixed for the theater, where the music is quite loud and the dialogue is a lot quieter. So when you're watching on your TV, like this fucking, it's the volume mixing is way, like it's so fucking loud and you can't hear anyone saying. So you boost it, and then the moment there's an explosion, you're like, fuck. And
Yep.
So they
I feel like it's always
changed.
been that way though.
That's been that way since the dawn of television.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe it's just TV
It's,
speakers.
yeah,
just
it's
being
always
ass.
been the movie industry. You're like, I can't hear a damn thing, and then they're like, to Rohan, you're like, oh, and then the bullets and gunshots.
Oh my
yeah.
god! Yeah, when you have to constantly, like, if it's an action movie, you're like
Yeah.
down, the shooting, turn it down. All right, the shooting's over. They're talking again. Put the volume back up. You're like, oh my god!
So maybe they have it almost right, but they did it the wrong way.
They
so
did it the wrong way.
But I guess if you're compressing it, the audio in general, the dialogue is still going to be even quieter if you're compressing it. So it's-
exactly. It's I don't know.
Get down.
It's it didn't address the problem at all.
Well, yeah, but so you guys, how old? You guys bought HD TVs your whole life, then, pretty much.
No.
Okay, so you did have
We
to.
had a Trinitron growing up.
Okay.
I kind of like had the very fast track 360 to 720 with the SCART thing.
Oh,
Do you remember
yeah,
the thing
yeah,
where
yeah.
you'd plug?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're the Xbox and you could plug in the cables directly, but then they had that thing, that like chunky ass horrible thing that wouldn't go in smoothly into the TV.
Yeah.
The like the really stabby thing. Type in SCART cable. This thing was diabolical.
I remember this.
This fucking thing.
Yeah, these things.
I hate this thing. Would
Oh.
never, and it would never go in your TV smoothly.
My dad has like 5 cardboard.
And then this
boxes
was like
full of
this
these.
was like
Just
I
PC
think
cables,
yeah,
yeah.
I think this was like 480. I think was it? I think, and then
480.
yeah, and then the first HD was 720.
Yeah.
Because I remember a bunch of DVDs that you used to buy back then were only 720p. They'd be like HD.
Yeah.
We used to buy DVDs.
Yeah, we used to buy DVDs, and then it very quickly became 1080p. Quite fast, I think. It felt like it was for me at least. I don't know if it actually was. Maybe you can tell me because you were probably there and excruciating.
Well, when we got 1080p, no, I think it was. I mean, it felt like a natural progression because the jump was so seismic that 1080 to 720, whatever, it was fine. But yeah, it's those are days gone by.
I mean, it feels
4K, man.
seismic. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm like 1080 versus 4K. I'm like, I notice it, but definitely not that much.
I mean, 1080 to 720 was a very big leap. Like when you watch a 720 thing, you're like, it's kind of blurry.
Yeah.
But 1080p is okay.
yeah,
But
1080.
4K is much better. Just
No, 4K definitely looks better, but definitely like the jump is just like, okay, if I watch something in 1080 versus 4K, I'm not gonna, my eyes aren't gonna be like, holy shit, this is like back to the Stone Ages, you know what I mean? But when you watch something in 360p and you're like, okay, now there is like
Yeah,
a
it's
big
like, I'm
definite
blind,
difference.
apparently.
I am actually watching Minecraft right now.
Yeah, classic YouTube.
Yeah,
essentially,
exactly.
I wonder how I mean, it's weird to go back and think about it, but at the time, a 27-inch TV was enormous. You know, that was a massive television.
Yeah.
And I found this old photo of me playing games with my friend, and I posted it on Twitter, and we're still sitting cross-legged with like the cords, you know, the corded controllers.
Oh,
And I those were simpler times, but hey man, now I can, like you said, we can download a Steam game in 6 seconds and never
Yep.
play it again.
Yeah.
Pay full price, but be like, oh, someday I'll get to that. It's gonna be sick. It's a different
Saving
era.
it for retirement.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think it's like you mentioned earlier, I think gaming is at an amazing point where these indie developers are making some of the coolest and most interesting experiences that we never would have gotten. You know, you would never get some of these games made now.
No,
it's
certainly
cool.
not.
Like
Yeah.
you'd never get I hate to bring it up, Fear and Hunger.
Some of the games of the years for you then?
Yeah, that's what you kind of asked me that earlier, and I think it's shameful to say because I can't really enjoy games the same anymore, and I'm not complaining about my job. It's just a different feeling.
What games have you played this year then?
I think I calculated I did 70 games this year, so like on stream. And
Right.
I think
Do you play games off stream still?
not really, just shamefully Diablo 2, which I still have been playing since the year 2000. But
He still hasn't gotten a single drop.
I'm working on it. I'm working on a thing called a Holy Grail, which is finding every item in the game.
Oh my God.
20 years later, I'm not even close, but I think I got 76% done. But the thing about this year in gaming, I think my perception of gaming has shifted as a streamer. Now my favorite experiences have been things like when I replayed Phoenix Wright or these games that have a lot of kind of community, like I'm having fun playing it with the viewers, as opposed to like, that is the best game I've played this year. Like Elden Ring DLC was unquestionably a fantastic experience. Balatro is such a great like gameplay loop, but Dragon Quest 3 probably is. I nearly committed channel playing that through, but it was so much fun.
How long was that?
Well, I did 3 streams of 11 hours each, and so
That's not too bad.
well, I'm getting up there. It's I think it took me about 45 hours of gameplay time.
It wasn't as bad as Baldur's Gate.
That was probably the worst experience, and it was fun, but we didn't even.
Yeah,
finish
viewers are very bad at watching long games, mainly because no one viewer can watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you're gonna miss out, and then you already are losing like a portion of people that see the RPG layout and are like, ew, I'm good. So you're already like, it's an uphill battle, and then you got to just kind of, if you stream it too often, then people are like, why is he still playing this game? I don't want to. It's like watching Ludwig play League of Legends. It's like, I don't want to fucking watch this guy play. It's miserable.
And it's tough because I think what I found has worked for me, because I still love all those games.
Yeah.
And it's not even a viewer fault. It's just, it makes total sense. Like, you don't know where they're at in the
It's
story.
like a viewer experience. You cannot provide the same like 1 or 2 hour experience some games can provide over a 33-hour period.
So I do like 2 days of the game that if I'm really excited about it, and I say, hey, there it is. If you guys thought that was really awesome, you can go ahead and finish it on your own. And I got a great experience out of it. And but we're gonna have to move on just because we're
So did
trying
you
to
find
have it
yourself
entertaining.
finishing less games?
Oh yes, yes. And as a completionist, that is an absolutely horrible feeling.
How far did you get in Metaphor?
This is so shameful. It was like I basically finished the tutorial and then some. And you're talking to the guy who like loves Persona. Started with number 1 back on the PlayStation, played through all 5, and I really want to play that game, but it's Planet Talk. It's all it is. You go and you talk endlessly to people.
Yeah.
They told me it's a visual novel disguised as an RPG.
That's all the Persona since 3.
That's all the personas.
I mean, I have the opposite problem where I won't start a game if I know I can't beat it, but that just automatically rules out like these amazing games like Metaphor and
Oh no, dude!
then
The
I'm
amount
like,
of cutscenes in Metaphor, like I think you'll actually want to because you can't skip these either. Because that's the whole point of the
in
game.
Persona 5, I was getting driven to the brink on those.
Yeah, and you only played it for an hour.
Like an hour, and I was like, this is fucked up. I've touched the controller 3 times, and one of them I got lost in Shibuya. And I was like, this is evil.
Yeah.
This is evil because this is like, Shibuya was easier to navigate in real life than in Persona.
Yeah.
That's great. What a great game.
Goated.
Goated. That's a game of the year. Yeah, I don't care when it came out.
Oh my God.
No, but those games are so great though. And it's tough. Games
You can't stream those.
Nah, I mean, I try to do a thing that's like 70-30, right? I try to do 70% stuff where I really keep in mind the viewer experience.
Yeah.
And then 30% time I'm like, I got to do this for me. And I want
This
to
is one for me.
Well, it's like I have so many
One for you,
games.
one for me.
Yeah, one for you, one for me.
6 for them, 1 for me. And I'm in a very, very obviously lucky situation where I get to also go on adventures with him, and I got to go see you at the Parco building, and I get to kind of spice things up to remind the viewer, like, hey, we're still doing other fun
We
stuff.
do stuff. We
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
guys.
I got a side, I got a side.
Yeah, and then we're going back to Monkey Island, and so it's that kind of ratio. But I've loved it. I've never been happier. This has been. I've done more stuff in the past year in my life than collectively, I think, 40 years cumulative. It's crazy.
How's since you've been on last year? How's life in Japan? Changed much? Anything different? Anything? No, you notice any changes?
Year 14. Year 14.
Yeah, is there any difference between year 13 or 12, or is it pretty much same old, same old?
I'm very glad I got out of the workforce for sure, and I'm very thankful. So usually in the morning, I try to go and grab like a coffee or something. Which, by the way, tell me if this guy did me a real dirty thing. I went to because we only have like Starbucks near my house. So if you don't like Starbucks, that's fine. It's trash coffee, whatever. But I went there, and I'm a regular. I go there almost every morning. So just to get some coffee. We'll drink water, just hang out, just detox, whatever. And this viewer, he noticed me, and he was like, "Oh, it's Premier 2." And I was like, "What's up, man?" He didn't know my name. I had to make that part up. But he was like, "I know you." And he was like, "You come to this coffee shop often?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I'm just gonna grab a coffee." He's like, "Okay, me too. I want to get a coffee." And I actually had a coupon that's like the one more coffee that you get like. It's like $1.50 or something.
Right. Yeah.
And the staff, I don't know what it is at this particular Starbucks. Every single guy or girl is like a model. They're the most insanely attractive. I think it's because it's a university town, and they're all just like young baristas, and the guy's like cleaning the glass, and the girl's like, "Konnichiwa, hey Peter, you're back." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I'm a regular." And I was like, "I still got it." And I was like, "One more coffee, please." She's like, "Can I have the receipt?" And I was like, "Yeah, here you go." And then she was like, "That's a McDonald's receipt." And I was like, "Okay, let me take that back." And then she was like, "Wow, is this all for you?" And I was like, "Jesus, no." I was like, "No." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Nah." And then I was like, "Nah, I mean, we went together, right, man?" Because I needed a bailout here. This is the bro code. Like, okay, I got a couple of like double bacon cheeseburgers.
Oh, so it was like a coupon if you bought at McDonald's?
No, it was my receipt from McDonald's. And she was just looking at my order, and she was like, "That's all for one person?" And I was like, no, we split that. And the guy went, he was like, I didn't go.
Oh, he broke the bro code.
He broke the bro code.
That could have been an instant bonding moment.
Yeah, I would have been like, "You're a guest on the channel. You're my VIP mod, this man." And he sold me out, and I was really, and then I had to say the thing. I was like, "Hontoni onaka suita ne." Like, I was so hungry.
She asked you, is this all for?
Well, she was like teasing because I go in there and I order it, and it keeps getting worse and worse, right? So normally I go in there and I always just get a iced coffee, right? That's it. And they were saying like, "Oh, we have these new, Mary Berry Christmas lattes." And I was like, "No, I'm on a diet, so I've been on a diet for 12 years. But I was like, "No, I just want the 0-calorie coffee." And then she was like, "Diet desu ka?" I know. It was
that's brutal.
And I was like,
That's so BM.
Why catch you strays like that?
I don't know.
What the
and I was
fuck?
like, "One more coffee, please."
She's not letting you forget it.
No, that was pretty
fuck?
cold-blooded. And the other thing that's tough there is there's another girl who works there that they have like 40 staff because it's a college town, right? So they're always cycling.
rotating. Yep.
And she always is like, "Do you not remember me?" And I'm like, "I do." I don't. She's like, "You taught me my senior year the whole time." And I was like, I forgot. Yeah. But that was during COVID. You had the mask. She's like, "You use that excuse every time." I was like, "I know. Yeah, I'll have 3/4 pounders and 6 bags." But I got called out by the guy. I got totally sold out, but I forgot the original point. It was something about coffee I remember now. I got it. So I go for the point of that is I often go to these coffee shops, and Japan is so hard, and this is why it hasn't changed and what I'm thankful about. The bus is packed. People are on a rush to go to work. The commute is just horrific. And I'm very, very eternally thankful that I have an opportunity to do what I do, and because that shit is the most soul-crushing experience in Japan.
Yeah.
Is surviving the work culture.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think that's changed, but I will be applying for Japanese citizenship this year.
Hey.
And
nice.
promptly probably be declined when they were like, "What's your in level?" And I'm like, 6. And they're like, "It starts at 5." So I'm like, do I have to know kanji? And they'd be like, "Okay." So, but I'm looking forward to naturalizing as a citizen here. I think it's long enough. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
14 years.
Yeah,
that's
permanent residency is what I have now, and if you don't know what that is, it means I don't have to have a work visa to do what I do. It's and it's lifetime. But I feel like I do want to get involved in local elections or where the communities are at, and just having a bit more agency.
I had a taxi driver today.
Sorry, I'm gonna pee, but you guys.
He was he loved politics, and he kept talking to me about it, and he kept asking me. He's like, "I love history. He's like, I love Churchill."
Yeah.
I mentioned I was British, and I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah, he's a really strong leader, isn't he?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." He's like, "Now they don't have strong leaders." I was like, oh, okay. He's like, Japan, full of weaklings. And I was like, oh, you going to fix it? He's like, nah. I was like, are they nice guys? He's like, yeah, they're nice guys, but weak. And then maybe we can get Pete. Sort it all out.
Get elected. Yes. Yeah, I'm a real, I have a lot of strong policies. Like work now starts at 11
Well, there was that one politician in Japan who was like, your womb should be removed after 30.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that was
yeah. It was like an Onion article. It was wombs to be removed after
And then
30.
I think his argument was kind of around the idea of like, we're not having enough babies.
So
and I was like,
so
we'll
put pressure.
remove wombs?
So just
uterus removal.
You apologize for the...
What the fuck did I come back to?
Yeah, this Japanese
Uterus
politician that was like, you should remove the uterus after 30. It was a pretty hard line. Hey, it made headlines, so his party might have more votes.
Maybe we should remove the penis at 30 if you didn't successfully. We should start with him.
Women would not be allowed to go to universities from 18, and a law would not allow a single woman over 25 to ever get married.
Oh my God.
Christ.
What the fuck?
In a speech in Nagoya? Yeah, of course it's Nagoya.
Yeah, of course. In all places
it's Nagoya. They got nothing else going on. They're like, let's make some fucking radical policies.
This is not, sadly, this is not a terribly uncommon kind of, even in joking culture. Like when I first started teaching, the common joke would be, because you're working with a bunch of people who are in their mid-20s or so. They'd be like, oh, so-and-so is a Christmas cake. And you're like, what's that? And she'd be sitting like right next to me. They'd be like, well, after they're 25, on the 25th, they're useless. And I'm like... And I was like, that's absurd. Yeah, that's like it's a Japanese
They
joke.
would just say that in front of them?
In front of them. And I was like, you don't have to take that. And I was like, by the way, I'm a Christmas cake. He's like, no, men are okay. I was like, man, fuck this place. So like that kind of mentality is in direct connection with like the absurdity that some of the old fashioned.
It's sad. It's sad that that's not the first time I've heard that.
See, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it
sounds like a fucking Alex Jones bit.
It's
They're like a Christmas cake. They're useless if you're 25.
Well,
it's like a I don't know. Sometimes Asian culture, especially with Asian culture, I kind of realize this, but they're way too comfortable making jokes or like having sayings that are just like putting
fucked up.
Yeah, just putting a person down.
Yeah.
Well, like a lesser form of that is as soon as you turn 25, you're considered arasa, which is around 30. Around sati.
Yeah, arasa.
So it's
really
kind
rounding up to the maximum potential.
So it's kind of assuming that your best days are already done.
Oh my lord.
Or arafo after 35, and so arafif and so on.
Yeah, my god.
But, hey, my mom's 74, ready for more, so you can still have a great life in these ages.
I mean that's why so many people in Asia are so, especially women, are so conscious about their age because it's like
why? It's like wine though, they just get better.
That's what
they just get better. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, we should elect
MILF
us.
man spitting facts.
Yeah.
Local MILF man. But it's true. It's
local MILF.
Local MILF man gets elected.
Local MILF. Women can only be dated after 30. New policy. New policy.
Put your wombs back in, ladies.
Oh man, but it's I don't really notice a lot of the changes in Japan now that I'm a total degenerate playing video games all the time now. So
I kind of realized people
say you made it.
I did a Q&A thing. People asked me questions about anything, and they just asked me questions like, how is it living in Japan? I'm like, I mean, it's like different. What I do is not a normal way to live here. And people ask me how do you move? How do you do all this stuff? It's like, I don't have like a normal way of doing this. I'm the worst person to ask.
Well, I think this is actually really interesting. A lot of people ask me that same question on the channel or just in general.
Like you have, many years of experience and like a normal approach to it.
And for me, I left America around 25, 26 years old. And
so you're useless.
I was already useless. I couldn't make it.
You left.
I was like, blow out the candles. Couldn't make it. I guess I'm
Pack it in.
Yeah, that's all we're going to write for that one. But when I moved here, I feel like the only way I describe it is you got to ask yourself, which stresses are you best equipped to deal with?
Yeah.
America stress was really hard for me. It was a bunch of retail jobs. It was a bunch of serving industry stuff. And I didn't like having to operate the car all the time and pay the fees and try to, everywhere you went was like this huge ordeal or parking. I felt like my theater degree should have been a minor, not a major, in that regard, where progress was never really, there was no blueprint for my success. And so when I moved to Japan, I was able to deal with the stresses of living here much better, which are packed trains, which are a little bit longer work schedules, which are scheduling your spontaneity is a little bit less as America.
There's no spontaneity.
They'll be like, let's hang out. This is great. How about on the 23rd of February? And you're like, what? That's like in 3 months. But those are things that I was okay with.
Yeah.
But the number one thing of why I stayed and when I visited, I realized was, into this day, genuinely, I wake up every day and I still enjoy my environment, where I'm walking, what I'm seeing, what I'm eating, what I'm buying. And I enjoy that so much more than I did the United States that it's not even close.
That's a really interesting way. I've never thought about putting it in like dealing with the stresses of living in each country. I've never looked at it that way. I just kind of thought like, I like these things about Japan. I never really thought about it like I don't like these parts about the UK, but I guess they go hand in hand, right?
Well, it's like every place you live in is not perfect. Every place you live in have,
of course not,
different stresses, different things that bother you.
But the daily life overall here is just very good.
Yeah,
and people always like, you must be like playing it up. It can't be that good. I'm like, no,
it's very nice.
Pretty good. I mean, we would have left otherwise.
It's kind of just insane that everything kind of just works. Like when stuff goes wrong, it's horrible, because you have to deal with like so many layers of systems, but like daily life stuff, everything works so seamlessly, and you can always rely on everything. And it's I mean, not to like fucking jerk off Japan, but I mean like,
well, I mean, it's the biggest city on the planet.
It's great.
And I survived it, sometimes having to steal toilet paper from parks, but I survived it by a teacher's salary, which is like the lowest entry point.
4 pennies and a shilling.
Yeah. So I think that if you can make that work, it's pretty good. But my wife would say that Perth was better for her, and she's Japanese, so maybe there you go.
Yeah, Japanese people love Perth for some reason. I don't get it.
I don't either.
It's a bit of a shithole. Sorry, Perth.
But I'll be visiting there soon. So
every time someone from Perth, actually, I got some viewers the other day who recognized me because of my shoes, and I was like, "Oh, where are you from?" They were like, "Perth," and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And they were like, "Oh, you know Perth shit." I was like, I kind of know Australia.
It's like it's any city in Australia. It's like there are the people who are like, "Yeah, our place is shit," and then there are people who are just like hardcore, like, "Nah, man, we live in the best city in the world."
I've learned that you can call 2 cities shit pretty unequivocally. It's Perth, but mainly Canberra.
Oh yeah, no. Everyone in Australia can agree Canberra is the worst, and that's our fucking capital.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's the worst.
But it's only your capital.
You could have had Batman.
Had like a fucking. It's a fucking sports capital rivalry, you know, because you had Melbourne and Sydney.
Yeah,
and you just get
the only reason. I don't know if you know this, but the reason why we chose Canberra as our capital is because it sits perfectly between Sydney and Melbourne, and we couldn't decide on which one, so we picked a random city in the middle.
That's so Australian. I love that.
It sounds like sports fan, you know. It's just like, all right, you guys can't agree.
Could be worse. You could
could
call both cities Melbourne and split them with a river.
Oh, that's Kansas City, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, look, that would work even 5 years ago. But I mean, fuck Kansas City. No, I'm kidding. I like Kansas City. It's one of my favorite places to raise a family.
I'm going to go to the toilet real quick.
You don't, because he's already leaving. He just makes
Kansas City.
There you go. But yeah, it's Kansas City was where I had a dozen different jobs. So being a part of a city like that was it was great.
That laugh says it all.
It was wild. I mean, but
what was the best job you had there?
Let me just go through a list.
All right, let's go
through your entire resume.
Well, I think I've already forgotten so many.
Yeah, let's go through your resume.
So I started at a flea market called Riki's Flea Market. I was 13 years old, and I was not paid in cash, but she did have a selection of gag gifts from like a Pee Wee Herman movie, like gum that would make your mouth turn like black or blue, stink bombs, things like that, right?
Yeah. So how old were you?
13. That's illegal.
First job.
Yeah, so that was
child labor.
Yeah. then I went to I worked at a coffee shop called Toto's, you know, like Dorothy and Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And I was promptly fired from that when they put me by myself at a location that was like brand new and somebody got sick. So it was like my 4th day and everyone was like, there was like a huge line for some reason. And I was like, and I panicked. And there was one guy like literally wanking off in the corner because there's a library and they had the The computer. I had to call the police. I got fired. It was done. That was 15 years old.
Okay.
Right.
Then I took a break from jobs after those two. I was
yeah.
like, all right, I'm just stayed in
Understandable.
stink bombs, and I got police called on some weirdo.
Yeah.
So then after that, we got into college, and I had a whole series of waiting tables, which was great work because you get the money that day,
Yeah.
and then immediately go buy video games or cards that night.
Right.
Yep.
So we had Applebee's, Chili's, Red Robin. There was one more in there, but I can't remember. It's gone now. GameStop was a big one.
Ooh.
That was fun. We've worked at Z95.7, today's shit music.
Yeah.
the
Oh,
radio
Yeah,
station.
that was one I
I remember
first.
That was a good one. I worked at the Olive Garden briefly. That was
You worked at Olive Garden?
that one actually was really unfortunate. This one actually has a different story that it's going to intercede. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
This was one of the worst dates of my entire life. It was very bad.
Started on a date, worked in the kitchen by the end of it?
No,
Oh, my
but
Lord.
it
Okay,
was
okay.
so. I had just got this. I really loved this girl. She was so sweet. She was so awesome, and I was a senior and she was a junior, and I had just graduated, so I was moving into the college thing, and she was just becoming a senior. And I was like, well, I won't see her in the hall anymore. I should ask her out. Like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So I got all my buddies around me because that's what I did back then. I was like, I'm gonna call her. Here we go.
Yeah.
And then we're like,
Get the boys to hype you up.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
yeah, let's go.
and I was like, it's
Hell
busy.
yeah.
So I was like, it's busy. So we had to like wait, and we're like, what are you
Yeah.
gonna say? I was like, I'm gonna let it come to me. And they're like, you should come up. I was like, I got this. So I was like, and then I was like, hey, you know. So I call her and I was like, hey, I was thinking that this would be so cool if you and I, my boys were like, I was like, yeah, we should go out and like have a date. And she'd be like, I really like that. And then everybody
The
was
boys are
just
like,
and she was like, I was like, sorry, they're watching sports. And I was like, you know, cut it out. And so I just got my license at 18 because we couldn't afford a car at that time until then. And but my mom was kind enough to get me this old white Cadillac, not Cadillac, but like that kind of Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom had just got a new Ford Focus. And I said, can I please borrow your car so that I could show up without like, you know, this thing that's smoking out the back.
putt-putt,
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, of course, just be careful. I love you. And I was like, okay. And then at that time, my sister already moved out. So we had my cousin Justin living with us upstairs. And he was like in his mid-20s. He was like, yo, bro, you going out with the girl tonight? And I was like, yeah. He was like, what's your plan? I was like, I'm going to take her to where I used to work at the Olive Garden. And he was like, bold. And I was like, no, man, you get like breadsticks. He's like, okay, that's fine. All right. And he's like, what about after that? And I was like, well, I was working at the radio station at that time.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was a celebrity judge at an improv show.
Yeah, I remember this story.
Yeah. So sorry, you have to hear it again.
No, I don't mind.
So I got
Oh,
the-
it's this one? Oh, my God.
well,
is
so
banging.
I was like, I get to be a celebrity judge because the actual guest couldn't make it. And then he was like, dude, that's sick. He was like, all right, look, I don't know how things are going to turn out tonight, but just in case. And I was like, what is that? He was like, it's a condom, you idiot. I was like, huh? What do I do with that? And he's like, I don't have time to explain all that. He was like, just put that in your coat and don't you worry about the thing. He's like, you got this, big man.
Yeah.
And have no intention of using this. Like, I'm not interested in that at all.
All right.
I'm just trying to focus on Olive Garden, don't eat too much, and then improv show.
Yeah.
So I take the car, I pick her up, we go to the Olive Garden, and they were really nice because they were like, hey, I used to work here, what's up, man? And I was like, you know, it's not just the free breadsticks, they gave me some other perks too, like a dessert. And I was feeling like, I was
Okay.
like, this is so sick.
You were
This
like
is-
the shit.
This is so perfect.
Yeah.
And then we went to the improv show, and it's hilarious. Everybody's laughing, everybody's having a good time, and I'm giving out big scores, you know, with the numbers. And they said, and they were like, and now we're gonna bring up the celebrity judge to do an improv game with us. And I was like, oh. I fucking killed. It was awesome. It was so funny. In my memory, people are going like, Pete. But I don't think my name was Kramer, I guess. But they were like, people were going nuts. Everybody was like vibing and everyone was coming up to me, man, that was so funny what you did. And I was like, oh, thanks. And I looked at her and I was like, yeah, you know, I take an improv class at college. You know, I'm like, I'm just, you know, I'm feeling so good. So we get in the car. And she's like, I'm cold. And I was like, you can have my jacket and stuff. And I'm doing like the cool thing.
The
which
chivalry
is-
thing.
The chivalry. I'm feeling
Of course,
chivalrous.
of course.
Hell yeah.
And I'm freezing my ass off. But we're
You're
driving
nailing it.
around. And I said, well, you know, it's only like 9:30 9:45. Do you know we can go home, or I could drive us around for a while? And she's like, I'd like that. I was like, okay. So then I adopt the cool guy position, where it's like,
Arm on the handrest.
one hand on the steering.
but this isn't automatic, so I don't even need the clutch. It's just the thing that puts it in.
It's a power stance. It's a power stance.
It's a power stance.
Yeah.
And so we stop at this red light, and it's not even really, I think it was around winter, because I know it's cold, so maybe we were looking at Christmas lights or something. And it wasn't even a red light, it was a stop sign. So I'm at the stop sign, and I'm chilling, and she puts her hand on top of mine. And I freaked the fuck out and hit the gas, and I T-boned this other car coming right in front. Like, slammed it, like a sports car. There was like a Corvette or something. And I T-boned that because I panicked so hard. I was like, let's go! And then like, I'm driving through someone's lawn, and she's like, stop the car. And I'm like, oh, what? And I'm like I'm knocking over like Christmas decorations, and I like turn the car around, and I was like, oh my God, what have I don't have a cell phone, because like before I had one, but no, they didn't exist yet. So I had to go knock on the person's door who I just drove through their yard. And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. Can I please use your phone? And they were like, is everybody okay? I was like, yeah. And of course I checked on the other person. They were totally fine. I'd hit their passengers, and it wasn't,
You hit that passenger?
side.
Okay.
She was by herself, and I dented the front of their car, but you know, and I think there was like a brief moment where I probably blamed someone else. I was like, didn't they have it? She was like, it's your stop sign. I was like, damn it. So it was all my fault.
Yeah.
And I look at the car, and it won't start. I totally smashed the front of this brand new Ford Focus from my mom. And I was like, oh, fuck. And so I couldn't reach her because I was calling home, and I think she was with her friends, or maybe she was watching a movie. I don't know. She probably was on her 6th edible. I don't know. So we had to call her mom, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I had this accident, and can you please come pick us up? We're at this place. And she was like, yeah, are you guys okay? I was like, yeah, and I already gave the insurance. The other person's okay. They left already. Everyone's fine. She's like, okay, I'm on my way. I'll be there in like 30 minutes. I was like, okay. So now we're outside, and she gets my coat, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing. And she was like, no, you know what? It was still a really fun night, and I had a good time. And I was like, thank you. So her mom never shows up. Like, we don't see her. We don't know. It's been like 45 minutes, and the family comes back outside, and they said, is something wrong? I was like, can I try calling home again? And we called my cousin. He was like, bro, what's up? How was the date? And I was like, I totaled my mom's car. Can you please come pick us up? He's like, what? I only have like a truck, and I've got like a deer head in the front. And I was like, that's okay. We'll all squeeze in the back. And he was like, all right, man, where you at? And I was like, I'm over here. So he comes and picks us up. Then we're driving, so the Yamanote circles around Japan. Kansas City has a similar highway called 435, which just circles the city. Right. We're on 435 going back, and this girl I'm with is like, stop your car. Wait, I think I see my mom. Her car had broke down on 435.
Oh my God.
So we picked up her mom, and I'm in the middle between like mom and daughter. And Justin's driving with the stupid deer head in the front. And all I can see is like his eyes and like the faint outlook of like a smile above his teeth. He's like,
shitting grin.
And he was like, so how was the Olive Garden? And I was like, it was fine. And he was like, did you, I guess you're not going to need that thing in your pocket. And I was like,
no, he didn't say that in the car.
I'm not wearing
Justin's
the jacket.
A dick.
So when she goes like this, and then she like, I swear, this is how I remember it, but there's no clean ending to the story because I think I blacked out. If you were to film it, she like pulls it out, and then the mom's looking, and I'm doing this, he's smiling, and then the Larry David music plays. And it's like executive produced by Go Fuck Yourself. And I don't know how I got out of that situation.
That's so evil. Your cousin did you
Dude,
so good.
He didn't know that she was wearing the jacket, but that, Olive Garden, GameStop.
This is literally an In-Between plot.
Yeah, this is
literally. Have you watched
that
In-Betweeners?
No.
This is your life.
Dude, that was
This is literally your life.
That was a pretty.
That's crazy.
That was a cool story, though.
It's literally about like.
hilarious
we did.
because it didn't happen to me, but
Yeah, we you know. So, my mom, to her credit, I went home and I was like, she had just got this car.
Yeah.
And I was so embarrassed. And I was like, I'm so sorry, Mom. And she's like, you've always been my favorite son. I'm like, I am your only son. She goes, she always says that too. And I hang up you're my favorite son. Yeah. She was like, as long as you're both healthy, I'm fine. I'm just sad that, I couldn't help you more. And I was like, damn, Mom, I'm sorry. You're the true one. And I was like,
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you going to do for work? She goes, you know what? She always says, we're Macy's. We'll figure it out.
Aw.
So,
Hell yeah.
So she quit.
mom's a
No, I'm
gem.
kidding. Yeah, so she
lost the job.
so she lost her job on Monday. My Halo nights for another year. So, and that was one of the worst first dates, but also one of the best.
I mean, it's certainly the most memorable.
So
A character building.
It was a
date,
character
some say.
for sure.
Yeah, character building.
It writes itself.
Briefly, I was also an usher at I worked at 3 movie theaters, but this one leads to one more date story. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course, man. Go crazy.
This one's way shorter. So I was a master usher at a theater.
Okay, wait. What is the difference between an usher and a master usher?
They're the ones who
Sam,
usher the ushers.
I'm glad you asked. I was like a butler of sorts. I was able to coordinate the other ushers, but that means they had to come to me for their instructions.
How old are you at this point?
I think I was 34. No, I'm kidding. I was 20.
How old are these ushers? Like 16?
Yeah, some of them were. I think we were all college students.
Oh, okay,
It was at
wow.
a theater at college.
You were just distinguished above the rest. as always.
Special treatment, and that also worked towards my shop class, so that I was working for hours of like, 'cause I didn't want to paint or build. So this girl who I had like the hugest crush on, she was so beautiful, and I had never talked to her ever. She was an usher that night because she was like she needed the hours for the class. And she was like, are you like the master usher or something that I have to talk to? And I was like, yeah, but you know what? You don't have to do anything. I was such a wimp. I was like, you can just chill and do your own thing. She was like, oh, so it's like, you're not even worth anything? You're not doing anything? I was like, no. I was like, I definitely have a lot of control. You know what? Actually, I'm going to need you at the front. You have like this, you got let's go get her attitude. And I was like, wow, I need my bros to hype me up for this. And so afterwards.
So you called them all in.
Called them all in. So afterwards I was like,
Come here.
I told her, I was like, that was really fun, She was like ushering, and I was like, yeah. I was like, this is something I don't normally do, but I'm just gonna swing here. I was like, you seem really cool, and I'd like to get to know you better. Do you just want to go out and get like coffee or something sometime? She was like, you know what? That was a lot better than your usher game. So yeah, let's do that. That'd be fun. I was like, that's sick. So we went out, we had coffee. It was a great time. And then she said, like a week later or something at school, we passed in the halls, and she said, why don't you, come to my place tonight? My friends are out of town, and I've got the whole apartment. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. Of course, I'll be there. What time you want to show up? She's like 7:30. I was like, yeah. That's
Pretty late. It's pretty late.
I was like, I do that shit all the time. That's cool.
Yeah.
And so I go there, and I'm like very nervous. I'm like, and I'd never had this opportunity before. Like when, I feel like things were in motion that were beyond my understanding. Right. And I was like, how do I navigate these uncharted waters?
Yeah.
So I go up there, and we're watching a movie, and I do the thing where every guy does. I sit as far away from her as possible because I don't know the vibe.
Yeah.
And then I go to the bathroom, and I sit like a little closer. And then I go to the bathroom again because I was like, I should have sat closer. And then I do like 5 times. She's like, is something wrong with your bladder? I'm like, no, I'm just,
that awkward feeling of like slowly like in is so real. Where you're like, it's.
And
you gotta move your hand like this.
I know, it's so good. And like, I actually am getting kind of nervous even retelling these stories.
Yeah.
Because the thing about those, and I had a really great acting coach who you may remember called the radio station and defended me. He said, he goes, man, when you're in these relationships and like, whether it's been like 10 years or you meet someone for the first time, you really gotta like appreciate, dude, those real raw moments where you're like vulnerable and you don't know because someday you're gonna be married like me and all that shit's gonna be gone. It's a routine. And I was like, whoa. And he was like, no, I'm kidding, man. We have new things, but he's like, these are really vital. And I was like, okay. And that was in my mind. So I'm like, the heart's pumping. And I do the thing that you do, like, oh.
You're like slowly your hand is like, I just think this is a good sitting position. And then you're like, all right.
And then once the arm was around, it was like a glove in a baseball. We just felt like this. And it felt like, I was like, this is so cool. This is so awesome. And we're watching this movie, and I feel like, dude, this is the time to go for the kiss because this movie is like lame as fuck. This is like the longest movie I've ever seen. I think I chose like Magnolia, and it's a good movie, but like I was like, get something long so you're there for like 4 hours. And I go in, and we start to like this brief kiss, and it's like it's moving towards something, and then suddenly I get like this on the door. This dude is like, I'm not gonna say her name. I'll say her name is Rachel. He's like, Rachel, open the door. I hear some movies in there. I know you're not alone. And she's like, get out of here. I don't want to see your face. And I was instantly, I'm like, this is not what I, and he was like, who else is in there? Who's the other motherfucker in there? I want to know who that motherfucker is. And I was like, I can't do this. I'm not strong. And I was like, she was like, yeah, he could kick the shit out of you, you piece of shit. And I'm glad I left your ass. And he was like, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? And like, they are arguing and I'm just sitting there totally terrified. And eventually he was like, I ain't gonna forget this and I'll be waiting outside. I'll be waiting outside, motherfuckers. And I was like, oh God, please don't do this. And he left. He feasibly left. And she has like a breakdown now. Now she's crying and I'm like, oh, fuck, this is all wrong. And so we're trying to like fix this thing and I'm like, don't worry about it. And she like stood up on the couch. She was a shorter girl. She stood up on the couch and was like looking through the blinds. She was like, he's gone. He was a loser. I fucking hate that guy. And I walked over to her and I was like, it's okay. And then like at that one moment, we were like the exact same height.
Right.
I said, it's going to be all right. I'm here. I'm not going to do anything, but I was like, that sounds good.
Look, I won't help, but I'm here.
And
like
then we had like this passionate embrace.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, let's fucking go. This is sick. I crushed. And then she's like, oh, you know, I used to be this model. Do you want to see some of the pictures? I was like, yeah, of course. Of course, you're very beautiful. And I'm like going through these pictures and I was like, yeah, these are great. And then like some of them are kind of, I'm like, yes. Some of them are kind of artistic. And I'm like, well, these are lacking a lot of the clothing that I normally see, but this is very cool, black and white, whatever. And then she goes, yeah, I'm here, I have some more in my room. Do you want to come take a look at it? And I was like, yeah, sure. Totally missed that signal. Like it was just fired right past me. So I go into her room and she's like, I think they're over by the bed. And she's like, whatever, getting near the bed. And on her wall, she had like this enormous poster. It was huge. It was like, I guess big as the TVs we get for free now. It was like but it was like John Lennon, but all of his face was smaller pictures of John Lennon. You know,
like a mosaic.
It was like a giant mosaic, and I was just lost at staring at that, and I was like, this is crazy. There's so many John Lennons. I didn't even think. And then she was like, oh, well, why don't you come sit next to me? And I was like, yeah, just 1 second. I was like, some of these even have the Beatles, but I thought they broke up and he's dead. And she's like, yeah, it's just a poster. And I was like, oh yeah. And I turn around, she's completely naked. Completely naked. Completely.
Damn.
And she said, she kind of like does this thing. She goes, just make yourself comfortable.
I'm like,
And here's what I did. So bad. I took off my shoes and laid next to her. And I was just sitting there, like now, like fully clothed, sweater, and I'm just so scared.
well, you are comfortable. You were very comfortable.
She was like, isn't that hot? And I was like, no, I'm fine. No. And she's like, well, you know, the bed has covers. I'm like, yeah, that's how I always sleep. And, you know, I wish that there was a natural end to this story. I didn't have the courage to go through with that. I felt like everything was just happening too fast. A guy had just been banging on the door.
That's a bit much.
And I just felt like this is not right for me right now. And so I was like, this is so crazy and cool, but I think I gotta go.
You're so cool and crazy, but I
gotta go.
I was like, I don't think I can even stand up for the next 4 hours.
Do you mind if I finish the movie though?
So it was, that was the other dating story that I fondly remember, where I looked at a poster and I saw a naked woman and took off my shoes. I can't, it's so lame.
It's so
funny. It's so pathetic.
I don't think you, if you were cool in your dating life when you're like 18, I think something's gone wrong.
Yeah. No, I don't think it ever got cool.
Yeah, you have
with
to
my
fuck
dating.
up. Yeah, but I mean, like, if you were like, I was 16 and I just kind of knew everything. It's like, what? No, it's meant to be awkward.
Yeah. It was very awkward. So, that was fun, but I was working as an usher there. I worked for Boiis, the music company.
What the fuck?
I worked at Best Buy, Circuit City. I worked at the mall briefly selling. Oh, that was fun. I worked at like one of those sunglass hut things, and across from me, it was so annoying because it was this other kiosk that had calendars. That was like the only thing they sold, like a classic mall in America.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the one that was always there it's my favorite thing to watch. It was a calendar called Studs and Spurs. And it was these cowboys with like six packs and their boots and like jeans on, and that's like all that's facing me is the Studs and Spurs catalog, and I loved watching women walk by and double take, and then kind of be like, should I buy that? Should I look at March? Like, what does October look like? And I'd always be like,
are the months the same as they always were? I need to check.
yeah. And I was like, just buy it. I was like in that age, but movie theaters, countless restaurants.
God damn, you've done everything.
What haven't you done, man?
It was a lot. It was a lot of different jobs here and there.
You talking about your dating thing reminded me of when Chris was telling us about his first kiss.
Boy, he snogged Tom Scott for 3 hours or whatever he said. What did he say?
He said, yes, it was, we weren't doing it. And then suddenly we snogged for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like,
snogged for 3 hours.
He made it sound so clinical. And I was like, it's such a passionate.
Snog is the worst.
Such a passionate embrace.
And then he was like, 3 hours, the snogging is finished. And
I can imagine. And he's like, was that good? It was good, wasn't it?
Was that pleasant?
Yes. So, but yeah,
I mean, yeah, I have flashbacks to just terrible dating experience.
Yeah. We've all been
actually,
there.
your story here just I think you unlocked so many core memories that I just
you unlocked
buried.
about 3 terrible dates.
We were
of my mind.
There's some people and they like this show and they were like, yeah, we like it because it kind of taught us to like, don't worry about being yourself. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't worry about being yourself. And I was like, oh, no, wait. Actually, I remember when I liked this girl, I would literally do anything that I thought she liked.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would be like, who am I? I don't even know. I love Twilight and I love One Direction. Like that's me. That's what I love.
Notebook is the best movie.
I love The Notebook. Notebook's amazing. Why not? Like, let's run it back. I always forget that awkward part of where you're like, where you think like you as a guy or like, I mean, it's pretty a very like a relatable thing where you're just like, you just think that whatever you are into is automatically not what they are into.
Yeah.
Thus you need to change everything.
Yes.
And you're like, yes, I like what you like and movies.
I like that thing you just mentioned to me 2 seconds ago.
I know all about it. Let me guess.
I can formulate the perfect personality that will make her like me.
Yeah, exactly.
We will have the
and
same
it's like
interests.
This really awkward.
Yeah.
And what's so sad though, and I think times are better now, but I remember growing up.
I don't know about
that. Well, I mean, maybe not. I mean, in this regard that I'm about to say.
Okay.
When I grew up, it was a very still misogynistic culture about like trying to date as many people as you can. I had zero success with this, but that was like, and then.
But that was the vibe,
it was like,
right?
oh yeah,
it was like Dubro culture.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it was just like, we want to. All that consumed our thoughts was like, I want to date girls, or I want to be with someone.
It was like losing your virginity was like such a big.
Well, that was because like American Pie had also come out when we were in like school.
Yeah,
it was like a big thing at the time.
But it was always like such a big like oh no, like every guy always talked about
if they had sex, they were like,
if they had sex, and it was always like,
bro, you're still a virgin.
It was
you gay?
Yeah. It was always like
no.
the lead up to like the big event, and like I got to a point where I'm like, damn, I looked to my left. I looked to my right and I'm like, I'm the only one. And I'm going to college, man. I'm going to university. Shit.
That's so real.
Fuck. You know what I mean? Damn. And I'm like, damn, is there something wrong with me? Yeah. I just have zero fucking game.
It's like,
apparently.
damn, maybe I am gay.
I remember that I also worked at a FedEx Kinko's as an overnight shift where I was working.
Okay, I mean, did you just like, we were a completionist of jobs? Like,
dude, that was actually the best because I could bring my PC in there and play World of Warcraft during the entire night. Like, we had no business.
Full on like fucking.
I had to bring the tower. Yeah.
What the fuck?
And
you brought it in every shift?
Or my friends would bring board games and we just play, games and stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember when this was in my 20s or whatever, early 20s, and it was during that culture of that. And I remember somebody had bought a enormous, giant, huge printout of the whole world, and then they didn't need it, but it was on this really thick poster vinyl. And so I had it hanging up in my basement, and we were playing games one day, and a third friend was like, we should like have a game where it's like, we all have different bases, and we should try to like meet women, and like, we can have a competition to see who can have the most women from different countries. And it's like Risk. And I was like, that sounds fun. The only problem with that was after about 3 months, we had to change the rules. I was like, what if we talk to foreign women? Like, like instead of being with them, like what if we just said like, I saw someone from Europe. Do I get to claim Europe? And I was like, this isn't us guys. We're not cool. We're not dating like that.
Yeah.
And even then we were like, this is not our culture, but we have this cool map. And I was like, why don't we just play Risk with it? So yeah, it was during that whole American Pie, Machismo. And I think these days people are a lot more accepting and like, I think, at least when in Japan students were.
Yeah. I mean, I think because like now there isn't that like weird expectation or like social pressure to be like, you gotta, if you're a dude and you're 16 years old and you haven't lost your virginity,
I guess
you suck.
Quite a question to you, our younger audience. Is there still a pressure to hook up and lose your virginity?
I hope
if there is, don't worry about it.
If there is, don't worry about it. I'm just curious because it was such a huge formative part of our childhoods, and it was such a huge factor in like judging our own self-worth. And now we are much older, and we're like, shit, that shit was like stupid and worthless.
It was completely crazy.
It was so toxic.
It was so dumb. But that was a different era.
Yeah, I mean, also I just don't think part of the reason I think it might still be there is just because I don't think we can get rid of horniness as a teenager. We just,
of course not.
You hit puberty and those hormones hit hard, and
Dude,
you're
I'd
like
budge into the door and I'd come. You know what I mean? I'd
stub my toe and
fuck it. Yeah, being a teenager was very different. It was a very simpler time. It was very different.
I remember. Oh man. My first experience. My first ever experience, like feeling that emotion, whatever you want to call it. So we were at our computer, and we were still in school, right? So this is right around the time of like puberty age, right? And we I was like, me and the boys, we was like computer class, and we were just like playing. I think we were like playing Age of Empires 2 or some shit like that.
Hell yeah,
Age of War.
At school?
Yeah, at school.
That's great.
You had Age of Empires on your PC? Do you mean Age of War?
No, it was. I'm pretty sure it was Age of Empires.
What the fuck?
Because some guy found a way to install it on the like the fucking computer PCs. So it was like lunchtime. So it was like, you know, a lot of people were out, but me and a few other kids were playing.
How does this go from Age of Empires to jacking off?
I don't know.
All right.
But I remember one of the girls in my class, like she comes up to us, and it was just after PE. So PE is like physical education. So she was like wearing her
sports clothes,
right? Yeah. And you know, female sports clothes back in the day was just like, she was just wearing like a really long t-shirt, right? And I remember she comes up to us, like us group of boys, and she's like, "Hey, want to see something cool?"
She did not.
And she was just like,
what the fuck?
And I was like, and then she was like, and then just ran off. And I was like,
what the fuck?
I'm serious.
That's burned into your brain.
And I was like, that's weird. I was just like,
See, what's crazy is I tried the same thing last week. And now I have a check mark on my,
the reason it's burned into my memory, it was because like,
that's
I remember
insane.
As a kid, I was like, that's weird. I was like, that's a bit weird. So I would go back to playing Age of Empires, and I'm like, why can I not stop thinking about what I've just seen? This is so weird.
Suddenly the game is very boring. What once was the most important, you're like, it's such stupid.
Why is gaming not my top priority? That's like occupying my mind right now. This is so weird. Actually,
oh my god,
that's great.
That is like burned into my memory. But yeah, that was very weird experience.
She changed your life forever.
What the fuck? That's insane.
Yeah.
Your childhood literally
walk up.
Literally.
That's
I would also, if that happened to me, I would probably remember that for the rest of my life too.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna remember the story for the rest of my life. The audacity of this last.
I think I remember telling you the story. They used to have this channel in the UK called it used to be called Babe Station. Do you remember this thing?
Oh yeah.
And,
Babe Station?
Yeah,
that's way worse than the map.
It was basically those like channels that would go live at like 11 p.m. on like page 95. You'd have to like fucking.
All right, channel 95.
You'd be like pressing up, because the fucking even the remote wouldn't go to it when you put like 95.
Yeah.
You find it. And it would basically be these like women who'd be like, "Hey, call us. We're like sexy or whatever."
Yeah.
But it would only be on screen for, I don't know why, it was only on screen for like 30 seconds. So it was always like a fucking race against the clock to like try and, I'd be like, hold. And you're like, I go. And then it would go off and you'd be like, no, I nutted to a fucking vacuum commercial.
That's the worst version. The
gold split.
The predating version of that in America was during when cable was a thing. This was like high school, right?
Yeah.
And we would all be maybe middle school, early high school. We would be sitting around the TV that has cable but not HBO, Cinemax, and that's what we called it back then, and like the other movie channels.
Yeah.
And we'd be watching the distorted like blur, and then somebody'd be like, I saw the boob. I'm like, no, you didn't. You did not. And I was like, wait, maybe that was. And I was like, I think that's a nipple. And we would sit there and just hope. And like, we would see it in the squiggles and in the discoloring that like popped in. And sometimes you'd get like a glorious, like it just somehow the planets would align.
Yeah.
And you'd get like 6 minutes of like a movie and you'd be like, get the tape recorder, hit record. And it was, that was the old days. You had page 95. We had Skinamax distorted boobs. I mean, kids now. I feel sorry for them. They have the whole thing in their hands with not the
They
thing.
got everything, every kind of
They
design.
also have that in their hands.
Don't even have to work for it. It's just
They
don't know the real struggle
Yeah.
of having to be secretive. All they do is fucking go into incognito, and that's all the all the job they need to do.
I might have. I know I did. I definitely printed off a naked woman's picture once from the internet.
Really?
For sure.
Yo, same here.
Wow, you're mugging me.
Don't worry about it.
What the fuck?
And then you would like fold it up and be like, someday I'll use, and then you'll forget, and your mom would be like, I found this clean. You're like, it's like Carmen Electra or something. I don't know, but like, who knows? But
oh my god, you just unlocked a cool memory.
well, the other thing,
really
I think we
forget.
talked about this. I think because all of our
I
conversations go
remember
back
telling
to
your mom
Kazaa
found it, right? Your
and
dad found it?
LimeWire.
Yeah.
My friends found it.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I stupidly, so I don't know if I've told this story, maybe I have, but I remember it was like my first time discovering hentai. It wasn't even like women, it was just like hentai, right? And it was just like anime girls back in the day. And then I just like printed them off and I hid them in a gaming magazine. I remember
That's the worst hiding space.
it was a Nintendo magazine.
Damn.
Oh my god.
I was like, ain't no way anyone's ever gonna find this, because my parents don't give a shit about gaming, so I was like, they're not gonna find it. The gaming magazine is the last place they'll ever look. So I remember.
It turns out it wasn't the last place they ever looked.
So it turns out my parents don't look at Nintendo magazines. My friends do though. So I had friends over and we were playing games. I think we were playing like Smash Bros or something. I went to the toilets. I came back. And like the magazine was like fully open with all like the pictures spread out. The biggest bullshit I could say was like, I'm holding on to them.
I'm surprised the bloody thing opened.
It's my cousins actually.
What are those?
Yeah,
I don't know that.
Don't worry about it.
I remember this is back when like Bluetooth was just kind of starting, like, and I had this one of those flip phones, which we would always send each other like videos after like it would be like 10p.
Yeah.
And this one guy was like, yeah, I've got porn.
Oh my god, I had that experience too.
I was like, no shit. I was like, yo, can you send me? He's like, yeah, sure, don't tell anyone. And so he's sending it to me. It's Bluetooth and it's taking fucking forever.
Yeah.
And it canceled once. And I was like, dude, it's halfway.
You're like,
Come on, send it to me. I
Dude,
need it.
because the school is ending in like 30 minutes. And I was like, dude, we got 30 it's like fucking Mission Impossible trying to download the fucking coordinates to that. I was like, send me the fucking video, dude. Come on, what the fuck, man? Because, at the time, it wasn't even that like I didn't even know what to do with porn. It was just like a status symbol in school to have that.
Yeah.
To have access to it. I mean, like,
He was the cool kid.
Yeah.
like, I got it. Yeah, I could send it to
so
you.
maybe the 90s weren't the best. I take it all back now.
Yeah.
Unbridled
And,
optimism.
and I remember I finally, it didn't happen that day, and I was like, tomorrow, you better not fuck me on this. Don't fuck me on this tomorrow. And so next day we go in, and he's like, don't worry, I'll send it to you for lunch. So, and you have to stay next to each other. So, I'm saying like, we're just chatting, whatever. And I finally get it. And I'm like, yo, okay, shit. Okay. So I wait till I get home and I open it and I open this porn. It's like 5 seconds of the blurriest shit in existence. You cannot see anything. And all you can hear is like the most scuffed.
That was all you needed, though.
And
you're like, sweet. 5 seconds.
Honestly, yeah, it would.
damn.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
But like you couldn't make anything out. You're like, and I think I was jacking off more to the idea of porn.
Well,
I was like, it's porn. This is
at
what
that
I'm.
point, you have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, so I'm like, sure, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can make it work.
So you're in your brain, you're just like, this is what porn is, I guess.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting being a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, some things never change, huh?
Nope.
Some things never change.
God damn.
You guys remember your first kiss?
Yeah, we spoke about this. Yeah, we
that
spoke
was
about this.
unfortunate.
Wait, unfortunate.
Me too.
Nice, yeah.
Well, like, okay, here's the thing, the distinction we had to make.
Okay.
Which is like maybe you had like that first kiss where you had like a little peck on the playground with
no,
the girl.
I'm talking about like
a full-on kiss.
Full on like.
Yeah, dude, it was a
Yeah.
fucking mess.
Yeah.
Mine was kind of magical.
No,
Fuck off,
Joe.
Fuck
In
you.
my- Get the
In
fuck
my-
out of
in
here.
my head, it was, in my
Fuck
head, it felt
you.
magical.
Look
Okay,
at this
there's no
Disney
way it was
fucking boy.
magical for her. I don't believe it.
It wasn't-
Tell me.
She's on
Tell me.
another podcast saying, "Oh, I had a horrible experience."
This fucking piece of
This
shit.
guy,
All right,
after
tell
he
me.
kissed
Tell me.
he
We
said it was
we were
magical.
at her house. It was me, her, and then like my guy friend and her girlfriend. Right. And it was just like the four of us. I was like 11, I think. So I was like, what?
11?
Yeah.
All right, Don Juan.
I was like,
Damn.
11?
yeah, I was like 11.
What the fuck? Mr. I left college.
yeah.
Meanwhile, he's like 11. Yeah, already got a name.
Yeah, she was
Shit.
naked. I was 33. This virgin thing, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm really excited. You're like, yeah, 11. I was making out.
No,
So-
mind you, between this first
What happened,
kiss
bro?
and me losing my
Fucking
virginity,
stomach.
there was a large gap.
I just don't believe it was magical then. If it was magical, you would have pounced on it.
No, it was
Magical at 11?
Magical, you would have carried that confidence
No,
into like everything.
I remember like we were just like hanging out, and then my mom came to pick me up from her house, and then she was like, "Oh, I'll go with you to like go
door.
go get the door for you or whatever." And the thing I vividly remember it. I'm like, I step out of the house, I turn around to say something to her, and she just grabs my face.
Sweet. That's exactly what happened to me. And then mine was anti-magical.
Oh,
This
I
exact
remember yours,
same
yeah.
thing. So
Wait,
basically,
what happened?
but it was my house, and her sister came to pick her up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I said like, okay, that was fun, she reached in and like started to make out with me.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
felt like the semblance of a tongue.
Yeah.
And I pulled her back and said, "What are you doing?" And then she ran to the car. And I was like,
No, okay. For me, there was no tongue. It was.
So
It was
why was it magical then?
It was magical because one, it was literally my first kiss. I liked this girl as well at the time, so it just felt more. But I didn't know because I was a little bitch boy. I was too afraid to ask, like, "Hey, do you like me? Because I like you."
send
And
me
like
a
that.
note, circle yes.
Yeah. I was literally doing the no thing, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like in my head, I was just like, "Oh man, I want to like stick around with her, and like hang out." But my mom's come to pick me up, so I can't. And I had no idea that she liked me as well. So it all just happened so fast. Like she literally grabbed my face, just went "Mwah," like that, and then said bye, and then slammed the door.
Like you're a fucking toddler, bro. You can't handle.
And like
You're like, yo, did that just happen?
Is that magical?
and the walk from the door to my mum's car, I was just floating.
Yeah, you
The
never
entire
touched the
time.
ground,
I
yeah.
never touched the ground. I was like, that was awesome.
Was
You
your
were
first
like,
kiss good?
someday.
Was your first
Yeah.
kiss good or?
Oh no, it was like horrible.
okay,
Cause like I think I got my first kiss pretty late. Like how old were you guys? Cause I was like
I was in high school.
I was like
13.
16,
Yeah, I was
17.
15, 16, 14.
Damn, am I the weird one?
No, I think you're among weirdos.
Well,
you're like our
Okay,
god.
so
You're
I
like, wow.
I didn't even start talking to girls until I was like pretty late
Yeah,
before,
damn.
I was pretty late. So I
I'd
was
love
like,
to hear your story.
I don't know, I remember we were on the beach and
Magical.
well, it's Brighton Beach, so turn the
yeah,
magic
not
down
so
by
much.
like about
Less
half.
yeah, less
You know,
magic.
we got the Stone Beach.
Yeah.
But we were, it was kind of like a small gathering at that point where a lot of us, in America you had the mall. Where I grew up, we had the beach, right? And I remember there was this girl who had just you know, he was just from like another school. It was like the first time I talked to her.
She's real, I swear.
Huh?
She's real, I swear.
She's real. She's real. I swear, she's real. I will not. I still remember her name to this day because God,
Yeah.
this shit be like a core memory to me.
Yeah.
And so you know, it was the first time that I'd ever, I guess, held a long conversation with a girl that wasn't it. You know.
We kiss now. Conversation complete. Kissing
conversation
Commence.
It's time to snog for 3 hours.
Conversation complete. And I remember we were. It was like my first attempt ever, I guess, like trying to flirt and that shit. And I'm like, ain't no way this is actually working. No fucking way that something is happening right now.
Right.
So I remember there was just a small, there's just like a small group of us, right? And we were sitting by the West Pier, which the West Pier, if you don't know, is a pier that crashed and burned down in Brighton. Which definitely was
very romantic.
Definitely was a metaphor for what was about to transpire.
Oh no!
And so I was like, you know, I felt some chemistry going, and I was just like, do I kiss? What's the right signal to kiss? Like how do people know this shit? You know, how do people know?
Should I ask? Can I kiss you now?
I was like, so we were vibing. We were like sitting pretty close together, and I was like, I feel I can get close. I feel like I can kiss. We're like got good chemistry. Luckily, she was clearly more experienced than me. So we looked in the eyes, and then she just goes like that. And I was like, holy shit, that is the fucking go button, right? That is the go button. And I just
like a fucking sleeper agent being activated.
Yeah. That is the go button. And I just felt a shot of adrenaline.
Yeah.
Of course,
And I was like, holy shit, this is happening. Fucking first thing that happens.
Uh-oh, did you bang heads?
Oh, bang heads.
I fucking
damn
speed of light. I'm just like, oh shit, she gave me the go. Bam, like that. And I'm like, and she's like, it's okay, don't worry. And I proceed to be like, is it still okay to like? And she's like, yeah, sure. For one, asking for like permission to do this shit. Yes, may I, ma'am? Probably like the negative fucking riz right there.
But I think our hearts are in the right place. I'm guilty of it too. Come on now.
I think our hearts are in the right place. We can make this work.
We care about consent. How about that?
Exactly.
Yeah, we were ahead of our time. Thank you.
So I go in for, as Chris would call, the snog. Right? Our lips touch. And then I'm like, what's the technique? How does one do this?
How did the French do it?
When does one initiate the tongue? Right? What is you know what I mean? I don't know the shit. The only thing I know about kissing is from Hollywood. Right? Yeah. So I'm like, I must have felt like a fucking snake, a fucking lizard, because like I'm just like a lizard. Here it goes. I'm just like you know how snakes like they taste the air.
Yeah.
Oh,
like that's,
no.
So I was just like,
No.
like that, and she's like, and she's like, we're gonna work on that, and I'm like, and I'm like, I've blown it. I've fucking blown it.
This is the other worst thing is when we were in high school, you would hear they'd be like, so and so's an amazing kisser. And I'd think, wait, there's like a tier list? Like there's a right way and a wrong way.
How do you become the S tier?
Like what
is good kissing technique?
Yeah, and so I think for a lot of us, we just disqualified ourselves from GIGACHAD of the year anyway. Yeah, so that's it. We don't know. So they have it.
Like that was so burned into my memory that I was just like, after that, I was just like, I literally like went on the internet and be like, how do you kiss well?
Practice with a pillow. These techniques.
Ironically, that night I was like, I got to get some practice.
Yeah.
I went for like the back of the hand. I was like, I can't let this happen again, man.
I think I was.
It's true.
It's so funny.
Based.
I was. I think I was like 14, and so I went to like a Welsh school, which is kind of like out of the way. But my best friend, he went to a concert and met this girl. And he was
14. He was going to concerts and doing cool shit.
I think so. I think he was 14, 15. I'm trying to remember now. And he was like, yeah, dude, she's totally chill. She lives right next to you. I was like, oh, cool, man. He's like, yeah, you should talk to her. And then I was talking to her, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go meet up with her. And he was like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, what? He's like, dude, I'm trying to get with her. I was like, oh shit, my bad. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna go hang out. I'm sure it's nothing. And then we're just chatting for like 2 hours, and she's like, hey, let's kiss. I was like, yeah. She just came out with it.
Damn.
She was like a year or two older than me.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, okay, sure, all right.
Yeah.
So she starts like, kissing, and I'm just like probably like a monolith. I'm like, and she's like, snogging is the only word I suppose that is suitable. And I'm just trying to copy the movements that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm like, yeah, cover all the taste buds. Like, just lick all of the mouth.
Cover all 9,000
Because I'm like, what do you do? Like, I'll just cover the entire mouth area. That'll feel good.
Like a wiggle at one point.
Yeah. I was like,
I don't know.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And then when you've had like the worst kiss of your life and you pull away and then you're like, I remember being like my entire mouth, like I had like baby food, just slobber all over like here.
You know it's bad when it like goes above.
Yeah. She was like, that was. She was like, yeah, that was good. And I was like, yeah, that was so good. And then the next couple of times I met up with her, she was like, yeah, I like you a lot, but my ex Johnny, he's messaging me. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Let's make out again.
Yeah, I was like, let's just keep making out. Why are we talking about Johnny?
Yeah.
And then like three days later, she's like, yeah, I'm leaving you for Johnny. Because Johnny was like 18, and I was like, I can't compete with Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of our stories have explained an awful lot about our careers.
Kind of just sat there.
About our personalities.
Yeah.
Yep.
We may not be Rizzlers or whatever the term is, but I think everybody, no matter who you are, has those same stories.
I just imagine you. And you had this thing when you pushed her away, you just mocked her. You were like,
kiss
kiss
she
you.
was naked. I was like, I said, honk shoe, me. I was like, stop talking. I was like, see, that's the thing is I didn't even have to talk. I just had to turn my back to her, and it was like an anime, and she was like, I can't. This guy's too much. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Just the shoe.
Yeah, there's some memories that I'm at that point now. I'm like, whatever. Those embarrassing moments make you.
What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point of living?
Exactly.
And like you said,
you learned what not to do. But at the
Exactly.
time, it felt like your world was crumbling apart.
It's like, I'm going to die now.
Yes.
Well, that's another thing that, I have noticed that as I've gotten older, there were moments like this or other things that were really actually genuinely impactful in my life. But as I've gotten into my 40s, I think, was that when I was 23 or 26?
Yeah.
Or
I have
20?
no recollection.
It's like you get to a point where those do not diminish the importance of them, but remembering the details can be very, very hard. And then as you were telling me your story about these peers and these things, I had a bunch of new memories come back that I haven't thought of in a decade or 2 decades, but they were life or death when they happened or transpired.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that was a fun one.
Well,
That was fun.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Wait, I still have one more thing for Connor.
Oh,
shit.
Just close
me?
your eyes. Here we go.
For
no,
me?
I'm kidding. No, this was from. You don't have to close your eyes. You can open them. When last year we met at TwitchCon in the EU.
Yeah.
And I held an event for our community, and instead of they showered you with gifts, so I have
they didn't.
one.
No,
I have
wait.
one for you here.
Wait, what?
That I think
one of them was
be-
actually so cool.
It's this one, and I think
Dude,
that
this was so sick.
I think it'd be perfect for your background, either at home or here.
Dude,
But
I'm kind of.
What is it?
I'm kind
see in a
of
moment.
selfish. I want to definitely take this one home.
Yeah, I just didn't want it in my house anymore. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I couldn't take it because I was going to America right after.
So he made me carry.
So I made him go because he was going home, and I was like, you know what? Oh, okay.
Drop.
No, I won't. Well, I got to take off the padding now. Well, hold on. It's a little anticlimactic.
Snow
Well,
globe?
It's not.
Well, it's cooler than that. It's
Super sick, but this really cool username, Flood to Flood, made. They also made me one, but mine did get damaged in the way home. But I'll let you guys see this one first.
Okay, look at that.
Oh,
Look at that!
that.
Isn't that sick?
Isn't that sick?
fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
It's really well done.
Dude,
Yeah.
the detail on the shoe.
Oh my god.
Are those the
detail?
Vessies?
What those are? Wait,
They're not
Well, yeah,
They're
so
not
but-
Vessies.
I think they look like cycling shoes.
yeah, they're probably cycling
Yeah.
shoes.
That's so sick.
Dude, the attention to detail on the t-shirt as well. Like,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
like how do you do that? I got to give this a clean.
There you go.
So the one that I got was also like
Dude,
the full van.
so cool.
Oh,
But it got, and I was like standing next to it, like chilling and doing the same thing. But when I got home and unwrapped it, it had been not as carefully and lovingly
cool.
packed. But my character had been flipped off the diorama and his head's upside down being hit by the car. And I thought about opening up and fixing it, but Ian was like, no, that's how I always thought of those streams. So please keep it. So on the background of that, it has me being hit by Ian in the van gang. So it's a really fun
Thank you for
homage.
bringing that.
Yeah, there you go. So
That's so cute.
these guys continue to inspire.
My purple bike, dude.
There you have it.
Well,
that was super fun.
thank you
Hell
very
yeah.
much, Pete, for
Shout
coming
out
on.
to who made it.
And
Thank you so much. Who was the user who made it?
Flood to flood.
Flood to Flood. Thank you so much.
Absolutely
I
great.
absolutely love this. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on once
Thanks for
again.
coming on
Hey, as
and
always.
reminding us of our core
Yep,
memories that
yep.
We tried very, very hard to forget.
I really do want to forget. So
Very kind. Thank you for letting me be here.
But if you want to see more of Pete, you can
Go check him
always
out. Live all the time.
Check his channel,
Twitch.tv/Premier2.
twitch.tv.
Oh, yeah.
Or we are also going to be playing some games
Yeah.
just after this.
Yeah.
This is going to be our coping mechanism for everything we just talked about.
I think I'm gonna need some of these for coping as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah,
So-
We'll crack another one
Yeah,
for
we'll
the
crack another one.
Patreon. But
So-
uh,
go
So
to Patreon
Pete's
if you
going
want
to
more.
join us on our Patreon for some games and a little bit more content. If you want to go to our Patreon, patreon.com/trash taste.
yeah,
To see more Pete and a lot more content.
he is chunky. Why are you playing all the chunky characters, dude?
I don't know. It's like a little chunk in my life.
Yeah.
I like a little chunk in my life. You got 2 kills, Pete?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I went dummy.
Yeah, you went dummy.
God damn.
I went
long.
dummy as well, but in
Yeah, we are right, actually.
literal.
Oh my God.
Joey.
All right, Joey.
Joke. I love
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta. Yeah, that's my main.
Yeah.
All right, Joey, do the thing.
All right, hey, if you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/trash taste. Also follow us on Twitter, send us your memes on the subreddit, and if you hate our face, listen to us on Spotify. And of course, go check out Pete. We don't need to tell you that. You guys are going to go do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, Pete.
It was actually a pleasure. You guys are great listeners. Thank you for guiding that.
I mean,
Yeah.
you do our job for us with these episodes.
Very kind.
You make it too easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.